What's going on, folks? And thank you for tuning in with me to another edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. This is episode number 628, episode number 628 on this Baller Friday edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before we get into anything else, I want to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And once again, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas, United States time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast, baby. And I love being independent now. Once again, type this in your browser, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites, the following, ghost.report, all right? Ghost.report, that's the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Not to mention, we're releasing our own articles, baby. All right, I mean, right now we are looking in a microscopic fashion at every goddamn Democrat that thinks that they're holier than thou, that are redefining moral standards out here. We're getting the dirt on all these soulless Democratic evil scumbags. So take a look at that as well. Spread it around like wildfire. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Once again, we have all the archives there of all the broadcasts that we've done. Moreover, we also have a 24-hour live stream which streams the most recent True Capitalist Radio broadcast on a 24-hour streaming period. So you got all kinds of goodies there. Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And before I get into anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please follow me on my only social media representation on the internet today, and that's on Gab, folks. All right, if you don't have yourself a free Gab account, well, then go ahead and get yourself one. And then once you do, go ahead and give me a follow. Follow me on Politics Ghost. That's the official name of yours truly on Gab, all right? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow. And I want to say Happy Baller Friday to the Inner Circle and, of course, to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on to everybody who's chilling in here with me? Happy Baller Friday to each and every one of you. And before I get into anything, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, well, then follow the next instructions, if you will, all right? Go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, go ahead and let me know on private message on Gab. And let me know your Discord chat name, because that's where the True Capitalist Radio chat room is, on Discord. And I will give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple. Let me go ahead and give a Happy Baller Friday shout-out to everybody who's in the True Capitalist Radio chat room right now. What's going on to, who do I got? I got Bash in here, Saber in the house, Aesthetic in the house. What's going on to Bro Dog? Who else do we got? We got Hoodie in the house. We've got the God of Rage, Tesla, Cyberheart. What's going on, man? Stagio in the place. Pepe the Frog in the house. Nat in the place. Metaform. We got Man Bear Pig. How you doing? Good luck on your new gig, man. We've got Herb Capitalist, Hambone Capitalist. Great Gains in the house. Extinction for Globalists. And I think that's all I see here on this Baller Friday. If I missed you, my apologies. And I want to say, of course, everybody who's listening to me out there right now, whether live or in the archive, I want to extend a Happy Baller Friday to you. Now, I know some of you that are probably first listening to us right now and are asking yourself, what's a Baller Friday? Well, this is the day of the week in which us capitalists, we try to gather our best vice that we like, and we look back upon the week, and we bask in our success. We bask in our labor, our wages, our salary. All right, and right now I'm taking a little bit of a break on consuming alcoholic beverages, you know, trying to detoxify the body a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I'll be back. So right now, instead of having any kind of alcoholic beverage, which is my traditional vice for Baller Friday, I am consuming in a soft drink. So whatever your vice is, doesn't necessarily have to be alcoholic beverages. It could be a soft drink. It could be a whole pie in one fork. It could be a gallon of Haagen-Dazs. Whatever it is. All right? I hope that you're partaking in it, and I hope that you're having a good Baller Friday, because that's how us capitalists, that's how we celebrate, baby. Let me go ahead and say cheers to all those that are out there that are listening to the True Capitalist Radio show, and may you continue to prosper, may you continue to capitalize, and don't let any obstacle get in your way. Kick their damn asses. All right? Cheers, baby. Cheers. Yeah, I have a soft drink. I know. I'll be back to alcoholic beverages, believe me, but you know, you have to learn, you know, when the body's saying, "Hey, bro, calm down." You know, you just got to detoxify your body. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk about healthcare in the second hour. As a matter of fact, we've got a lot of things to talk about today. I got a whole bunch of production notes here, whole bunch of them. And instead of going off on some kind of a rant like I usually do at the beginning of this broadcast, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is go right into the financial portion of the broadcast, because, I mean, I got a lot of things to talk about, and we're going to have to talk about them in extensive detail, to say the least. Now, I want to go ahead and get to the cryptocurrency markets, because within the past 24 hours, we've had a major contraction. And as I told the Inner Circle when we met up here, we have meetings every now and then, and I told whoever was attending that particular meeting that, listen, I can't find any reason in which we're seeing this major contraction. The only news that I gathered on why the contraction happened was because the International Monetary Fund decided to put out some report that was reported by many different outlets out here on the internet, suggesting that the cryptocurrency markets could potentially cause instability in world financial markets. And that's the only news that I could gather that justified the past 24-hour contraction, because I couldn't find anything else. The only thing near it, I would think, is some Brazilian exchange, crypto exchange out in Brazil, was not letting anybody withdraw or deposit, you know, and that may shake up the market a bit. But in Brazil, come on. But ironically, folks, the IMF, I read as early this morning that, oops, I think we misquoted us. No, we find that cryptocurrency won't cause a risk to market stability. And you see, folks, once people start, as you know, if you've been in this market long enough, once they start selling off at the slightest, everybody in this market is so fickle, they start getting a little bit antsy, and then they start selling off. It's very, very fickle of a market. And if you want my opinion, I think that a lot of institutional investors know this, and this is why they can manipulate news into causing contractions in the cryptocurrency market, because, as I've stated, this market is ripe for the taking at this point in time. We have barely scratched the surface in cryptocurrency. And not everybody wants to pay the high price. And because this is an unregulated market, you've got a lot of market manipulators who've been in the game for long periods of time that are able to manipulate these markets, because this market is so fickle. Once they start seeing the slightest bit of red in the cryptocurrency markets, these people sell off. They're like, oh my God, there's a little red. I got to move this crypto over here, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. I mean, every time. It never fails. And then once we start seeing a little bit of green, what happens? We start seeing double-digit increases on the percentage points. I mean, it's just... this is what happened, folks, and now we're starting to bounce back to a certain extent, but some news came out today in the crypto world which has now got people on a holding pattern. I don't know if you've been watching the cryptocurrency market cap all day today, but it is stabilized. I'm going to go ahead and say the market cap of cryptocurrency. It's stabilized at about 202 to 200 billion in that range. Remember, during this mass contraction, I was seeing the damn market cap go as low as 194 billion. I mean, we lost, what, $13 billion in market cap in a few hours? I mean, it was that bad of a contraction. Now, with that being said, the reason right now the market cap is 201 billion is the market cap, but it's fluctuating. And the reason it's been fluctuating that way all day, folks, is because Coinbase announced that it is not going to pursue its own cryptocurrency index product, meaning that you can kind of invest in a cryptocurrency index fund and be able to either make money or lose money with the market. They're not going to do it. And I think that has got a little people wondering, wait, wait a minute, what's going on here? I mean, and I think right now that's why we're having a kind of a stabilized market right now across the board in cryptocurrency. Now, with that being said, I did say the market capitalization right now is $201 billion market cap. We are barely starting to see some green today right now. I mean, I think that we are somewhat shaking off some of this major contraction that happened. But, you know, once again, that news out of Coinbase suggesting, because remember, Coinbase is the biggest exchange in America. And they're pursuing all these types of different financial instruments that are going to compete with a lot of the traditional institutional investments. And unfortunately, it seems that they're not going to get into the index fund game. And, you know, that was really abrupt, to say the least. And that's why you've got a little bit of a standstill right now in the market, if you want my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and get to Bitcoin right now. Let's take a look at it. Bitcoin right now is at pretty low levels in comparison to what it's been here for the past, I would say, year and a half. All right, BTC market capitalization right now is at $108 billion market cap for Bitcoin. Circulating supply is 17.3 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Bitcoin has gone up some extent. 0.27% increase. Current price for Bitcoin is $6,282.95 per Bitcoin. Now, let's take a look at Ethereum, because Ethereum had been going down majorly. I saw it going down, like 15% in one day during this contraction. Anyway, it's starting to bounce back a little bit. We've got Ethereum right now. ETH is the symbol. Market cap is at $20 billion market cap. Circulating supply is at 102 million. 102 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Ethereum has gone up 2.66% increase. Current price for Ethereum is $197.61 per Ethereum. Now, once again, the reason I'm going to cover this next coin is because the mainstream business media is always plugging it, and not to mention, you've got Ripple. That's what I'm talking about. They're signing financial deals. I mean, you've got 3 financial institutions right now utilizing the blockchain of Ripple to process transactions. Now, I'm not a long-term investor in Ripple, so I'm not saying that I'm in this on the long term. I have suggested many times that this is a very short, not a very short term, but a short term in the sense of about a 6-month range before one makes the judgment call on whether or not they're going to sell or they're going to keep it. Now, we all know that we have seen this damn thing go as high as about $3 and change. Right now, we're at prices to where we saw before the big bump when all the news about Ripple came out. And I think that we're going to see more big news because they've already, look, if they're already playing the institutional financial game, then obviously they're going to go ahead and probably get more financial institutions utilizing their blockchain technology to process transactions. Now, whether or not they're going to get something big time that could potentially put them on the map of cryptocurrency, like if they score a Goldman Sachs or a JP Morgan, I don't think so. But if they do, and even if they don't, even if they get some institutions in other parts of the international community, man, this has potential for growth. 6 to 8 months is what I'm suggesting here. XRP, that's why I'm covering it. I mean, I don't like the blockchain. I think it's a centralized blockchain. I mean, the whole concept of Ripple defeats the purpose of a decentralized currency. The people that are in charge of XRP, which is the symbol of Ripple, are the guys that created it. I mean, they're trying to be the digital Federal Reserve, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's take a look at XRP, Ripple. Market capitalization is $16 billion market cap. Circulating supply, you might as well just say 40 billion. 40 billion in circulation. Yes, with a B, in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Ripple go up 8.41%. Current price for Ripple right now, symbol XRP, is 42 cents. 42 cents. Now let's take a look at Bitcoin Cash. We're at the low levels that we saw before the major increase in crypto. It contracted with every other crypto that contracted on this market. But Bitcoin Cash is a competitor out here. It's on most of the major exchanges. It's a faster transaction time, lower transaction fee. You got block sizes that are a lot larger than the traditional Bitcoin, so it's something to keep an eye on, in my opinion. So I keep covering it. And not to mention it's being accepted amongst a bunch of different exchanges that are deemed legitimate in several regulatory countries. So anyway, Bitcoin Cash, BCH, market capitalization is $7.7 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 17.3 million in circulation for Bitcoin Cash. That's symbol BCH. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Bitcoin Cash go up 1.72%. Current price for Bitcoin Cash is $444.84 per Bitcoin Cash. Let's continue to Litecoin. Now, Litecoin has finally scored some news that I think is going to, make Litecoin pop here in the next maybe 12 to 24 hours. And that is that the Winklevoss twins, their exchange, I forgot what the hell the exchange was called. Was it called Gemini Exchange or something? What was it, engineer? I don't know. Whatever it was, the Winklevoss twins, they have been okayed by regulatory bodies to begin trading in Litecoin. So, let's see if that translates into major increases in Litecoin. We've been waiting. Anybody who's been owning Litecoin, we've been waiting. Remember, the highest Litecoin has gone is, what was it, over 300, 400 bucks, 500 bucks? I forgot. I mean, it was so long ago. But let's take a look at Litecoin. LTC, current market cap is $3.1 billion market capitalization. The circulating supply is 58 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Litecoin, LTC, has gone up 4.05%. Current price for Litecoin is $53.62 per Litecoin. Let's continue, shall we? Let's go to Monero. Monero, look, everything took a hit. Everything took a hit except for one or two cryptos, and we're going to try to cover one of those here quickly. Monero was not one of them, unfortunately. It took it on the teeth in the past contraction in the past 24 hours. XMR is the symbol. Monero market capitalization is $1.6 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 16.4 million in circulation. Unfortunately, in the past 24 hours, Monero has still gone down 0.06%. Current price for Monero, $100.81. Good God. Oh, man. Anyway, let's get to Dash, folks. DASH is the symbol. Now, of course, I say this because there are still Dash contracts at genesis-mining.com, and I just want everybody to just entertain that one. In my opinion, is the best value. You're probably going to reap the most profits from it, and that's why I continue to promote the genesis-mining.com contracts in relation to Dash. We've got some people in the True Capitalist Radio chat room that bought some. They're getting daily payments in their digital wallets. They're pretty elated about the potential. Because remember, we have seen Dash go as high as $1,500. $1,500 is how high this particular cryptocurrency has gone. Now, I'm not saying it's going to go there again, but lest we forget, if it sold at that price, then somebody somewhere is holding Dash at $3,000 right now. And just imagine how many Dash that they bought. So anyway, folks, take a look at my Gab right now if you do want to get a link to Genesis-Mining. And look, I don't think the Monero's that bad, because once again, Monero is being used by the underworld of the internets, the dark web, so to speak. And I'm not saying it's a good thing, but obviously it's a market. Bitcoin, it seems like it's going to be here for a while. How long Bitcoin is going to stay, no one knows. But it is the first kid on the blockchain, and who knows what else. And I do like the Zcash mining contracts as well. But right now, what's available, I would say that the Dash is the one for the value of the money right now. Dash, D-A-S-H. And once again, if you're going to get yourself or entertain a mining contract from genesis-mining.com, then you got to use the discount code. Everybody's got to use the discount code, baby. And of course, the discount code is WEA296. All right, that discount code again is WEA296. Now that we got that out of the way, let's go ahead and continue with the Dash coverage. Dash right now, market capitalization is $1.3 billion market cap. Circulating supply is 8.3 million in circulation. Nice and low circulation, man. In the past 24 hours, Dash has gone up 0.39% increase. Current price for Dash, $158.31 per Dash. And lest we forget, folks, that Dash is widely accepted. I mean, that's what's going to create the value for Dash. Right now in South America, Dash is king. Dash is king in South America. I mean, even in Venezuela, they're using Dash in Venezuela to trade for goods and services from other countries. Because remember, Venezuela is the socialist paradise in utopia where they don't even have food anymore. And let's not get political in the financial portion of the broadcast, shall we? Anyway, let's continue. Let's go to Ethereum Classic. Ethereum Classic, ETC is the symbol. Market capitalization is $995 million market cap. Circulating supply for Ethereum Classic is 105 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Ethereum Classic has gone up 0.12%. Current price for Ethereum Classic is $9.46 per Ethereum Classic. All right? Let's continue. We got Zcash. ZEC is the symbol for Zcash. Market capitalization is $552 million market cap, and you know I like Zcash, baby. The circulating supply, this is why. Take a listen. 4.9 million in circulation. That's it. 4.9 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we have seen Zcash drop slightly, 0.39%. Current price for Zcash is $110.55 per Zcash. Now, I want to talk a little bit about 0x, or symbol ZRX. Now, folks, Coinbase has officially added it to its not only exchange, but its ability to be able to cash out on Coinbase Pro with 0x. So 0x is now legitimately on Coinbase, and this here in the near future should be spiking this goddamn price up. Now, they've only preliminarily put it up there. I don't think you can do withdrawals from it yet, but they're getting that close. Now, why do I like 0x? Because the whole Coinbase connection. Remember, Coinbase purchased Paradox, the exchange that used 0x's blockchain technology to run the goddamn exchange. Coinbase purchased it. You know they were going to do something with it. They're starting to roll out with it now. And as I stated, folks, I think that 0x or ZRX, the symbol, could easily take the same trajectory as EOS. And I didn't even like EOS. And EOS was literally built up on nothing but hype. Here we've got an actual working platform in 0x, and lest we forget that 0x has less circulation than EOS. And that's why I'm saying that, 0x or ZRX is going to take the same trajectory as EOS. And EOS went from a 40-cent cryptocurrency as high as to, 14, 15? Oh, I think it was like $17 or some garbage like that. Anyway, let's take a look at 0x. It went up tremendously, and it was the only crypto, folks, believe it or not, that was not in the red during this contraction. 0x was not in, it was actually going up. It was up double digits, I believe, on the Coinbase news, and it should go up again once people are able to kind of have a little bit more leverage with 0x on the platform of Coinbase. Let's take a look at ZRX. Market capitalization is $402 million in market capitalization. Circulating supply is $541 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, we have seen it go down to some extent. 0x is down 4.55%. Current price for 0x, 74 cents. 74 cents for 0x, folks. All right, let's get to Quantum. Now, unfortunately, Quantum took a little bit on the teeth. It was going as high as 4 and change. Then the contraction happened, and it was also a victim to the massive contraction that you saw across the board in crypto. Let's take a look at QTUM. Market capitalization is $308 million market cap. Circulating supply is $88 million in circulation. In the past 24 hours, Quantum has slightly gone down, 0.59%. Current price for Quantum is $3.50 per Quantum. $3.50. And let me go ahead and continue on with the markets of 42 Coin, which is another big holding of myself in the inner circles. Let's take a look at 42 Coin. Market capitalization for 42 Coin right now is at $900,000, so it took a little bit on the teeth as well. The circulating supply for 42 Coin, once again, is 42 coins. In the past 24 hours, 42 Coin has gone up slightly, 0.38%. Current price for 42 Coin is $21,400 per 42 Coin. And we'll go ahead and conclude the cryptocurrency coverage of this portion of the financial broadcast. Let's continue on to stocks, shall we? Now, folks, stocks, they went up today, and the reason they went up is because you saw a massive, kind of dramatic, fickle-like pullback, which you would traditionally see in the crypto markets. And the reason is, folks, and I'm glad that the president and all the major mainstream news business media concluded what I had assessed during the broadcast, that it was the Federal Reserve and them increasing the damn interest rates 2 to 2.25% during at a time when right now we are coming out of one of the worst recessions in American history. We're coming out of it. We have reinvestment coming back to America. We got manufacturing coming back to America. We've got unemployment at 3.7, 3.4%, whatever the fuck it is. It's ridiculous. Lowest unemployment for blacks. Lowest unemployment for Mexicans. Lowest unemployment for people that have no high school degree or high school education. Can you believe that? Remember when they used to tell these kids, if you don't get a high school education, you're not going to be employed and you're going to be on the streets and you're going to be a derelict and all that other shit? This is now lowest unemployment for people without a high school education. We are a full economy at this point, and then you have the Federal Reserve trying to what? Throw a monkey wrench in this son of a bitch? And then increase interest rates? How come you didn't increase interest rates when we needed it, you dicks? How come you didn't increase interest rates during the time in which we were just bumbling along during the Obama fucking economy? That's because you people were working with this destruction of America, because that's what it was, folks. I mean, look, the Federal Reserve, by continuously printing out money, because that's what they were doing since Greenspan was the Federal Reserve chairman back in 2000, the year 2000. Just continue to print money, print money, print money, and that's why the U.S. dollar for a long period of time wasn't worth dick. It wasn't worth anything. Now, because you had Janet Yellen and continuing on with Jerome Powell over here, that were incrementally bringing in interest rate hikes, which I didn't mind. They were every so often raising it 0.25%. But this last time, this last time was a slap in the mouth to the United States economy, and that's why you have a lot of people in the business media out here criticizing the Federal Reserve, which you wouldn't usually hear. CNBC, Fox Business, you wouldn't traditionally see them criticize the Federal Reserve, but they know that this is ridiculous. 2 to 2.25%, and they're going to raise again this year. They're going to raise interest rates again. And these are supposed to be the smart Federal Reserve people that know all about economics and all this other crap. Did they not take into consideration that right now we're still running a fucking full-fledged deficit economy? And now that we are trying to assert ourselves once again on the world stage as an America First country, and we're renegotiating our trade deals, don't you think that it's the last thing we should do is raise our interest rate on our money? Because look at what's happening in the treasuries. I've talked about this. As a matter of fact, I've been talking about this for a long time here, that this was going to happen. That at some point, people that would traditionally come and buy our debt via bonds. And folks, when you purchase government bonds, that's what you're purchasing. Whether a municipal, state, or federal bond, you're purchasing the debt of the state. Now, everybody always asks me, Ghost, why in the hell would anybody invest in fucking debt, first of all? And secondly, the bond yields are very, very small in comparison to what you could potentially get in a investment in stock or something, some other financial instrument. Well, what you all don't understand, folks, is that first and foremost, these bonds, they give you, first of all, a guaranteed interest. And that guaranteed interest, once the bond is mature, is tax-free. It's tax-free. So let me just give you an example. Right now, someone like you, or even somebody like me, we couldn't put enough money into bonds to make the bond yields worthwhile to us. But just imagine billionaires that can easily purchase $500 million in United States bonds, and they get whatever the percentage yield is for whatever bonds they're purchasing. Let's say it's 5%. Let's say it's 6%. That is major money to some fucking billionaire. He's going to get a either 2, 5, 10, 20-year note, depending on how, because if you have to wait for the bond to mature to get that full-fledged interest rate. But once you do, it's tax-free. It's tax-free money. You don't have to pay any goddamn tax on that interest, and that's why bonds are such a big fucking deal, because the guys that are truly investing in bonds are these bigwigs out here. And I'm not just talking about United States bigwigs. I'm talking about international business, international bigwigs that are purchasing not only our debt, but debt from around the world. And what's happened in America is because people, or I should say countries, who would traditionally purchase our debt is now over $21 trillion in United States national debt. Traditionally, when we would put out a bond sale, when the Treasury put out a bond, well, they call it a bond auction, first and foremost. They put out a bond auction, and traditionally we would have all kinds of investors coming in and purchasing our debt. The Saudis, the Chinese, the Brits, the Europeans. And that's why we were able to get away with these deficits, man. That's why we were able to get away at spending at these levels, because the people that would buy our debt, they would buy it at low interest. They had no problem. And the reason they had no problem is because, let's be honest, in actuality, we had globalist infiltrators in our government that were doing this in an attempt to bring down America for the globalist infrastructure out here. But that's besides the point. But now that we've got a president that is America first, and he's renegotiating the trade deals, and he's rubbing all these countries the wrong way, we don't have that many people wanting to purchase our debt anymore. And as a result, the Treasury has to increase the bond yield to make it attractive enough so that investors can be like, you know what, that's a pretty good deal, I'll purchase that. And because we're heightening the bond yields, that means we as a country have to increase revenues, whether it's by income taxes or corporate income taxes, raise revenues by cutting things in the government, which is what Donald Trump is doing, so that we can pay the interest on the money that we have lent out to bondholders. Do you understand me? I mean, I want you all to keep this in perspective, that all the taxes that we collect on a federal level, personal income and corporate, it only pays for the interest of the principal of $21 trillion. We're paying for the interest. And that's why I keep telling you, who are we paying the interest to? We're paying it to those that bought the bonds. We're paying the interest to those that buy the bonds. Those are the guys or the countries or the billionaires that own our debt. And because, because on Wednesday we saw the 2-year bond note, the 2-year bond, and the yields of that bond, the percentage yields go as high as 2008 levels. That was a bad indicator in everybody in the institutional investment community's mind. Whenever they hear that any indicator is at 2008 levels, that's what caused major institutional investors like these hedge fund managers and mutual fund managers and retirement fund, all these people that control all this money, that's what caused them to pull out in the past couple of days. I mean, we lost over 1,000 points in the damn market because of it. And this is what it comes down to. They don't like the fact that bond yields, 2-year bond notes, the yields are as high as 2008. That's not a good indicator. And then we've got this asshole Federal Reserve increasing the interest rates at 2 to 2.25%. So now you understand why, and I think I explained it in the beginning of last broadcast, why you got a lot of people a little bit antsy here. And the fate of the market, in my opinion, comes down to the Federal Reserve, and it comes down to whether or not we can either cut down the national deficit as a fucking country, as a government, or we've got to convince somebody else to purchase our debt. And no one is going to purchase our debt, because lest we forget, folks, this past September, the president had to sign a spending bill extension. Remember, we still have to go through this bullshit again in December, where government shutdowns could be looming. And remember what happened to the last government shutdown. The last government shutdown caused the first initial increases in the Treasury yields. So I'm just saying, man, there's a lot of things to think about when it comes to the stock market at this point. I mean, I would very caution everybody right now. I mean, in my opinion, there's a lot of different aspects to consider that I have explained to you here, in which maybe you should entertain, liquidating some of these stocks. Maybe you should move this into something else. All of a sudden, I don't know, we're going to get to it in a second, gold is starting to become a big deal. What did I tell you? I told you all that gold is the traditional go-to point when it comes to times of economic crisis or any kind of economic fear. So anyway, I hope that you all gathered something from what I just described to you here. Let's go ahead and cover the markets, all right? Dow Jones Industrial, it's up today, even though we saw massive decreases in the past couple of days. Once again, over 1,000 points gone in the Dow Jones Industrial in 2 days. Let's go ahead and continue. We got Dow Jones Industrial, the percentage points up, 287.16 points increase on the day, a percentage increase of 1.15%. All right, closing out the Dow Jones Industrial at 25,339.99 points for the Dow Jones Industrial. We've got the S&P 500 also up today, folks, after a dramatic down time in the past couple of days. 38.76 points increase, a percentage increase of 1.42% increase, closing out the S&P at 2,767.13 points for the S&P 500. We've got the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ is also up 167.83 points. The percentage increase for the NASDAQ, because it was taking it mostly on the teeth there in this contraction, 2.29% increase on the day for the NASDAQ, closing out the NASDAQ at 7,496.90 points for the NASDAQ, all right? Anyway, let's go ahead and continue, folks, all right? Let's continue here. We've got the commodities. All right, let's go to the commodities here, for Christ's sake. Now, I want you all to take into consideration what is happening in the metals sector. All right, in the metals sector. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look first. You know, we always start off with energy commodities. Let's go ahead and go to WTI sweet crude. All right, WTI sweet crude has stabilized around $70, $72, $70 and change. Let's take a look at it now. WTI sweet crude is up 37 cents, a percentage increase of 0.52% increase. Current price for WTI sweet crude is $71.34 per barrel of WTI sweet crude. Let's go ahead and get to Brent crude, shall we? Brent crude is up 17 cents. A percentage increase of 0.21%. Current price for Brent crude oil is $80.43 per barrel of Brent crude oil. We've got gasoline. It is up 0.48%. Natural gas is down, folks, 1.89%. And heating oil is down 0.47%. Hey, where's the Farmer's Almanac that said that this was supposed to be one of the coldest winters out here? I mean, I know that we're, I guess, halfway into the fall, but I don't know. I ain't seen it. Anyway, let's take a look at the metals, shall we? The metals! Let's get to look at the damn metals. All right, now we got gold. Now, we're seeing a little bit of a contraction in gold because we saw gold go up. Now, the last time we were together, folks, I think that gold was at about, what, 1900? You know what I mean? 1900 or so? Let's take a look at gold, folks, all right? Gold right now is down $5.60, a percentage decrease of 0.46%. But I do want to say that the price of gold right now is $1,222 per troy ounce of gold, baby. All right, are you kidding me? I mean, look, I wanted gold to be cheap, man. I mean, you don't understand. I want gold to go back down to like $1,500, maybe even cheaper, so that, listen, I'm not trying to be racist or anything, because I'm not, okay? I'm a melting pot of friendship. Everybody knows it. But let's be honest, when you start seeing black folks wear the gold chains and the gold teeth, you know, and the grills and all that, and they're starting to go out in public like that. They're starting to go out to the club like that and stuff. That means that you're living in a pretty decent economy, you know? I'm just saying, That's what I'm saying. I mean, you know, a pretty decent economy, for Christ's sake. And that's what I'm waiting for. All right? That's what I'm waiting for Christ's sake. Anyway, let's continue going, all right? Who else do we got here? We got silver. Silver is up 3 cents, a percentage increase of 0.20%. Current price for silver is $14.64 per troy ounce of silver. All right? Let's continue. And we got somebody here who thinks he's a weatherman in the True Capitalist Radio chat room saying, what is this, the Weather Channel? It says, colder air could bring snow as far as Texas and New Mexico. Yeah, you know what? I'll believe it when I see it, buddy. All right? I'll believe it when I see it. I don't believe weathermen at all. But weathermen don't know shit from Shinola, all right? That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, let's get to copper. Copper is down 0.09%. We've got platinum. Platinum is down 0.32%. All right, let's go ahead and get to agriculture here. All right, let's get to agriculture. Corn, of course, you know corn's going to go up, folks. I mean, the president just threw a bone to the middle of America and decided to, you know, make corn ethanol a part of gasoline all year round, which who the hell knows that's going to do to our cars. But hey, you know, you gotta purchase your who the hell knows. Let me tell you, I think that we need to redefine what the primary list is. I don't think it should start in Iowa anymore. I'm tired of Iowa. I'm tired of the Midwest. All right. Just saying. I think Texas and you know, some ballsy states should be up in the top first primary spots, in my personal opinion. I'm just saying. I'm sorry. Anyway, let's continue here. We've got corn. It's up 1.22%, and we should continue to see it go upward, in my opinion. Corn is up 1.22%. Wheat is up 1.82%. Oats is up 0.52%. Rough rice is unchanged. Soybean is up 1.08%. Soybean oil is up 1.27%. Canola is down 0.36%. Let's go to the soft, shall we? Now we've got cocoa. Cocoa is up. Maybe it's the base for chocolate. We're right by the holiday season. It is up 3% on the day today for cocoa. Coffee is up. If you're a coffee drinker, it is up 3.23%. Now, I want to be honest with you. A lot of these commodities that aren't produced in America, I think, have been afflicted with all these natural disasters that have been happening all over the world, especially when it comes to like coffee, sugar, and these type orange juice. And the reason I'm saying it is, folks, look at all these hurricanes all over the world. Did you hear about this rogue hurricane that's about to hit fucking Portugal and Spain? Portugal and Spain are going to get hit by a goddamn hurricane, for Christ's sake. What is this crap? Anyway, coffee is up once again, 3.23% increase. Sugar is up 1.16% increase. Orange juice is up 1.02% increase. Cotton is up 2.03% increase. Lumber is down. Lumber is down, and it's going to continue to go down. Why did I say it was going to continue to go down the last time? Because of the interest rates. I mean, the goddamn Federal Reserve raising interest rates 2 to 2.25%. I think that you can't even get a house note now without, like, what is it, 6%, 5-6% if you got good credit? Good God, man. Anyway, lumber is down 1.26%. We've got rubber up 0.41%. Ethanol is up 0.31%. Let's go to livestock, shall we? We got live cattle. Live cattle is down 0.51%. We've got cattle feeder. It's also down 1.16%. Lean hogs is up 1.06%, folks. And that, my friends, is the markets for your ass. All right? All right, I'm just saying. That, my friends, is the markets for your ass. Anyway, now that we got that all out of the way, folks, I've got 10 minutes remaining in the first hour. I'm going to go right into the straight dope, the straight political dope. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. It's a Baller Friday, but listen to that, huh? Listen to that. I got a lot of damn production notes, for Christ's sake, all right? Anyway, let's go ahead and continue here. Let's talk about the President of the United States. Now, he is holding a rally right now, folks, in Lebanon, Ohio. Why, oh, did I ever leave Ohio? And I like the fact that the President is conjuring up that spirit of 2016 by continuously just going like a madman from rally to rally to rally, because let me tell you, I mean, I can feel that red wave coming on. Can you? I can feel that red wave coming on, baby, and I just want to say that I'm a little optimistic right now. You know what I mean? Especially after the garbage that they tried to pull in this Brett Kavanaugh situation. I think that they bit off a little bit more than they can chew. I mean, how in the hell can the Democrats try to redefine morality in the Brett Kavanaugh confirmation when they themselves can't even live up to the moral standard that they were trying to inflict upon Kavanaugh? Fucking hypocrites, man. But regardless, I am glad that the President is going out. He's calling out the Democrats for what they are. They are the party of crime. They are the party of violence at this point, which is what we'll get to here in a minute. And I hope that resonates with people that have any kind of common sense at this point. And look, before I get too ahead of myself, here, probably starting out in the next hour, I'm going to talk about the 289 accomplishments that Trump has made in the past 20 months. For all these anti-Trump assholes, for all these leftists that can't explain and articulate why is it they don't like this man, except for this regurgitated MSNBC bullshit that, oh, well, I don't like how he talks about women, and I don't like his tone, I don't like his tone. I remember when Barack Obama had a nice tone, and give me a goddamn break. All right, give me a damn break. Anyway, let me move on, folks, because there's a lot of presidential news to talk about. Did you all see the infamous meeting that triggered every goddamn leftist, left-wing media outlet? And I'm talking about the televised meeting between the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and Jesus himself, motherfucking Kanye West. Excuse my French. I don't know what it is. I say Kanye West. I want to start cursing. But let me tell you, the reason I liked the meeting so much is because Donald Trump is not a fool. He understands that these leftists are trying to win politically by utilizing culture. And culture is all the left has. That's why every goddamn moron in Hollywood is a leftist. That's why most artists, anybody who's creative, is a leftist. Why? Because they got invited. You know, just take a look at the people that are the most adamant enemies of the president that are part of Hollywood and the entertainment industry. Why don't you take a look, first and foremost, if Barack Obama ever shook their hand or invited him for dinner or invited him to the White House to perform or even gave them money during the stimulus package too. I'm telling you, if you take a look at everybody who got money in Stimulus Package 2, you will see that the people that are the most vocal anti-Trumpers are those that got money in Stimulus Package 2. All right? I'm just saying. I'm just saying, man. And in my opinion, I am glad that we've got a president that understands the wars of culture. And you know what I like about Kanye West is the fact that he is going against the grain and he's trying to show black people like, hey, wait a minute. How come I am what CNN called Kanye after this meeting, the token Negro of Donald Trump? Did y'all hear that? And you know what it exposed? Because this happened on CNN during Don Lemon's little interviewing session. You know what that token Negro little laughing spell that happened on CNN, you know what it showed? It showed the true racism amongst not only liberals themselves, but the black community. Because Don Lemon, he sure as hell doesn't look as black as Kanye, and those that were calling Kanye the House Negro sure as hell didn't look as dark as Kanye. So why was it so easy for them to just go ahead and call Kanye West some token Negro? Because he is an independent thinker? I mean, that's what he was trying to emphasize at the meeting. That who are you to tell me what to think? I thought I was a free black man. I mean, that's what he was trying to convey in the meeting with the president. I'm a free black man. Why are you trying to pressure me into believing what you want me to believe? I thought I was free to believe in whatever I wanted to believe. I thought I was a free black man. And you see, that's resonating with black folks, whether they're educated or not. If they have any kind of common sense and pride in themselves, they're realizing that Kanye West has a point. That why am I being bullied? Why am I being subjected to vote for a party just because why? Some white liberals think it's okay to use me as some kind of virtue signaling tool to get political power? That it's okay for some white liberal to make a judgment on what my destiny would be because they're giving me welfare, they're giving me food stamps? That I should just accept what these white liberals are telling me what to think, how to feel, how many babies I can have, whether or not I can be a father, etc. That's what black folks are starting to recognize, and I'm glad that we have President Trump fighting the culture wars on the same front as these fucking leftists. I mean, Kanye, he brought out a lot of good points. And you know who else was sitting next to him, folks? Jim Brown. 83-year-old Jim Brown. You know that Jim Brown actually saw racism? He was actually called racist names, and he had to ignore it. He was the first black man in the NFL, Jim Brown. And Jim Brown, ever since he was the first black man in the NFL, was a black activist. And he has been a lifelong black activist for the past 50 to some odd years. And he's always been consistent. And you know why he appreciates Trump, folks? It's not because Trump is giving anything to the black community. It's because Trump is providing opportunities to the black community. And that's why even before the Kanye West meeting, the approval rating of the president amongst blacks is at 36%. 36% approval rating for the president amongst blacks. Folks, Republicans would be lucky if they got maybe 6 or 7%, if that. I remember, I think they were talking about how the Romney-Ryan ticket, well, they had 6-7% of the black vote. 36% of the black vote is going towards Donald Trump because blacks aren't stupid. All right? At least not all of them. Let's put it that way. And they're starting to wake up and realize that their true chains of bondage, their true chains of slavery is not slavery. It's being tied down to what the government tells you what to do. You can't make more than this amount of money, boy, or we're going to take your damn food card away. You can't make more than this amount of money, boy, or we're going to take your welfare away. Black people are starting to wake up and realize this. You understand? And I'm glad, one more thing I want to add that Kanye West emphasized is the victim mentality. And I'm glad that Kanye West emphasized that blacks need to get out of the victim mentality, because that is what has subjugated themselves, and even Jim Brown agrees. Jim Brown, who is sitting next to Kanye, has come out recently and says that the black community themselves got to do soul searching. That if the black community is going to prosper, they have to look inward and work from there. And whenever anybody says that, they're an Uncle Tom. Anybody who ever says that, they're a sellout. And that's disgusting. I mean, liberals have got black people so brainwashed that if any black happens to talk like an articulate scholar, they're an Uncle Tom. If they don't act like the ghettofied gangster mentality that has encompassed black culture up to this point, they are not black. They're Uncle Toms, they're coons, and all the other derogatory names that they call black folks trying to attain what people that are at the bottom that are bitching that they don't have. You've got black folks trying to achieve it and being hated on by their fellow black man. And this is what Kanye West was trying to emphasize yesterday in the meeting with Trump. And I think it resonated. Like I said, before the Kanye West Jim Brown meeting, Donald Trump's approval rating amongst blacks was 36%. I can't wait to see what it is now. Anyway, folks, we are now in the second hour of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me on this Baller Friday. Before we move into anything else, I'd like to remind everybody to please spread this show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas, United States time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Remember, type this in your browser, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites, the following: Ghost.report, baby, all right? Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. Make sure to not forget it, baby. We independent now, so, you know, we ain't down with all those Silicon Valley oligarch social media sites. We doing our own thing. And by the way, if you do want to follow me on a social media, my only social media representation on the internet today, and that's on Gab, folks. If you don't have yourself a free Gab account, well, get yourself one and follow me under the name Politics Ghost, okay? All one word, no underscores. Politics Ghost is the name to follow on Gab. And once again, I got to say what's going on, and happy Baller Friday to everybody who's in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. What's going on, baby? Let's go ahead and give some shout-outs out here. What's going on to the God of Rage once again? Tesla, Cyberheart, Stagio, Saber in the house, Prince, what's going on? Pepe the Frog, Nat in the house, Metaform, Man Bear Pig, Holden Capitalist, Herb Capitalist, what up, man? Hambone Capitalist, what's going on to Great Gains, man? I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. You know what I'm talking about. We got Extinction for Globalists. We got Brodog, Bash, and Aesthetic. Thank you very much for tuning in with me on this Baller Friday in the True Capitalist Radio chat room. And by the way, if you want to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room, and I will be kicking it in the True Capitalist Radio chat room after this broadcast, baby. You understand that? I will be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room after this broadcast. If you want to come on down, if you want to join the chat room, then follow the following instructions. Go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, okay? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do that, private message me on Gab and let me know your Discord chat name, and I will private message you back on Gab and give you a private invitation, an exclusive private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple, all right? Anyway, before I move on with the broadcast, I do want to remind everybody, if you do appreciate this content, as by the way, if you're listening to this content, you are listening to the political underground of the internets, baby. But if you if you appreciate this content and want to sustain the continuity of this content, then go ahead and go to ghost.report and click the tab that states cryptocurrency wishing well. Okay? Click the tab that says cryptocurrency wishing well. Throw some cryptocurrency in there, make a wish, and all your dreams will come true, and you will be helping sustain the continuity of the True Capitalist radio broadcast. All right? All right. Now that we got that all out of the way, once again, I do want to give props to the meeting between Kanye West, Jim Brown, and the president. I think those pictures that were coming out of there, those were genuine. Those were genuine. And not to mention, I loved how Kanye West triggered the left-wing media when he said, hey, we have the Second Amendment. We got the right to bear arms. And Kanye West looked dead serious, baby. I'm telling you. And I'm just excited. I'm excited. I think that the left has overplayed their hand, and now they're finding themselves in a little conundrum, if you want my opinion. You know what I mean? And did you all see the complete meltdown by the leftist media? I mean, aside from CNN and Don Lemon calling Kanye West a token Negro and laughing about it, did you see MSNBC? Did you see the other left-wing medias, for Christ's sake? I mean, they were triggered, man. They didn't even know what to say. They didn't even know what to say, man. Oh, man, that's great, man. I'm sorry. I'm giddy about this. This was great PR for the president. This was great PR for the president in the culture wars that were started by the left. I think it's great. But anyway, let's continue on because we got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to go ahead and talk about something very extensive here. And I want to talk about Trump and the 289 accomplishments that Trump has done in the past 20 months. All right? He's only been the president for 20 months and has accomplished 289 accomplishments, baby, all right? Now, we're going to go ahead and go over some of these because I want to prove to each and every one of these leftists that are claiming that this is a bad president and, oh, my God, we're so unsafe, and whatever the hell they're saying, I want to show you what this president has done. Let's talk, first and foremost, economic growth, okay? Let's talk economic growth. 4.2% growth in the second quarter of 2018. For the first time in more than a decade, growth is projected to exceed 3% over the calendar year. Now, who was in charge for the past decade? Barack Obama! And Obama has the audacity to sit here in these recent speeches that he's been touting his stupid, dumb, power bottom ass off at, that he had something to do with the modern economic growth of America. Go screw yourself, Obama, you piece of goddamn power bottom trash. What about jobs? What about jobs, for Christ's sake? 4 million new jobs have been created since the election. All right? Can you believe that? 4 million jobs, 3.5 million since Trump took office. More Americans are employed now than ever before in our American history. Jobless claims at the lowest level in nearly 5 decades. 50 years, jobless claims at its lowest level. The economy has achieved the longest positive job growth streak on record. Job openings are at an all-time high and outnumber job seekers for the first time on record. Unemployment claims a 50-year low. African American and Hispanic and Asian American unemployment have all recently reached record lows. African American unemployment is at 5.9%. Hispanic unemployment is at 4.5%. Asian American unemployment is at 2%. Let's continue. Women unemployment recently at its lowest rate in 65 years. Female unemployment dropped to 3.6%. Give me a break. Lowest since October of 1953. Youth unemployment recently reached its lowest level in more than 50 years. July 2018's youth unemployment rate was 9.2%, lowest since July 1966. I mean, come and get some! Come and get some! Unemployment rate, and I talked about this earlier, unemployment rate for Americans without high school diploma reached an all-time record low. Rate for disabled Americans recently hit a record low. Blue-collar jobs recently grew at its fastest rate more than 3 decades. I mean, come on! I mean, last year, job satisfaction amongst American workers hit its highest rate since 2005. Nearly 2/3 of Americans rate now as good of time to find a job as any other time in history. We added more than 400,000 manufacturing jobs since the election, 100,000 new jobs supporting the production and transport of oil and natural gas. That's just the economy. I mean, let's continue going. Let's talk about the American income. The median household income rose to $61,372 in 2017. That is a post-recession high. Wages up in August by their fastest rate since June of 2009, the Obama days. Paychecks rose on average 3.3% between 2016 to 2017. I mean, give me a break. Some 3.9 million Americans are off food stamps since the election. Can you believe that? 3.9 million Americans off food stamps. Median income for Hispanic Americans rose by 3.7%, surpassed $50,000 a year for the first time ever in history for Hispanic Americans. Home ownership among Hispanic is at its highest rate in more than a decade. Poverty rates for African Americans and Hispanics have reached their lowest levels in American history. I mean, I could go on and on, man. American business. Investment is flooding back into the United States due to the tax cuts. All right, over $450 billion is already poured back into the United States, including more than $300 billion in the first quarter of 2018. Retail sales have surged. The Commerce Department figures from August show that retail sales increased 0.5% in July of 2018, an increase of 6.4% from the month of July of 2017. Jesus Christ. I could go on. Steel and aluminum producers are reopening. The Dow Jones Industrial, S&P, and NASDAQ have all notched all-time highs. I mean, I can go on and on, man. I mean, deregulation. I mean, let's talk about deregulation. Achieved massive deregulation at a rapid pace, the Trump administration, completing 22 deregulation actions for every one regulatory action during his first year in office. He signed legislation to roll back costly and harmful provisions of the Dodd-Frank. Remember that stupid financial bill? Providing relief to credit unions and community and regional banks. Federal agencies achieved more than $8 billion in a lifetime net regulatory cost savings, and he rolled back Obama's burdensome Waters of the U.S. rule, and he used the Congressional Review Act to repeal regulations more times than any other president in history. All right, I mean, I can go on and on. All right, I mean, I could go on and on. The tax cuts, the fucking domestic infrastructure. He proposed infrastructure plan utilizing $200 billion in federal funds to spur $1.5 trillion in infrastructure investment across the country. I mean, I could go on and on, man. I mean, combating this opioid epidemic. He's put $6 billion in new funding to fight opioids, which is a big time problem in the United States, and I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, I hate to use this as a side note, but if you take a look at the time we invaded Afghanistan to now, and take a look at opioid use, Because, folks, Afghanistan is the largest opioid producer in the world. And that's why we're still in Afghanistan, folks. Truth be told, all right? Just letting you know. I'm just letting you know. Anyway, I can go on and on. This particular list that I'm reading off of is out of the Washington Times, or excuse me, the Washington Examiner, excuse me. The Washington Examiner, it's written by Paul Bedard. It came out today, early this morning, October 12th, 2018. If you want to check it out for yourself, go ahead and do it. But, I mean, I could continue reading off the whole list. It'll probably take the whole damn show. I mean, it seems poised for a red wave, doesn't it, folks? And this is why everybody needs to go to the polls and make sure that they vote in Republicans this midterm election 2018. Man, we've got to. We've got to. Because what is the alternative if you don't, folks? What is the alternative if you don't go out there and vote and don't convince everybody you know to go out and vote? You get the Democratic mob that is being stoked into violence by the leaders of the Democratic Party, folks. I mean, come on. Is this what we want in power in the country? Is this what we want taking over the goddamn government? The Democratic mob. And that's why they're always, you hear them, right, folks? You hear these stupid, dumb people that are anti-Trump outside the Trump rallies. What are they saying? What is Antifa saying? This is what democracy looks like. What is it? I hate that shit. This is not a democracy. America is not a democracy. We are a constitutional republic. It's the Democrats that want democracy. And what is democracy? Well, why don't you take a look at the root word of democracy. Democracy truly means, if you take a look at what the word means, it means mob rule. That's what democracy means. It means mob rule. That's why you have all these Antifa and all these leftist maniacs hollering about democracy when we in the United States of America live in a constitutional republic. What do we have recently? We had Hillary Rotten Clinton, saying that she's not going to be civil and the Democrats aren't going to be civil until they get power again, for Christ's sake. Did y'all remember that? Did y'all hear that? I would strongly advise you, she said that in a CNN interview, that Democrats should not be civil until they get power again. That's what she said! And, there's some good news to that, because today, it seems as if Hillary Clinton has lost her security clearance in the in the United States government. Hillary Clinton lost her goddamn security clearance trying to advocate for violence in that ridiculous CNN interview where she said, it's not going to be, we can't be civil to the deplorables. I mean, we can't be civil to the deplorables until us, the Democrats, get into office again. Now, she got her security clearance revoked. Thank God. That's the last person that we need privy to any goddamn secured information out here. But Eric Holder. I mean, I talked about this on Wednesday. Eric Holder came out publicly and stated, and he was trying to use Michelle Obama's little tagline, when they go low, we go high. Remember, that's what Michelle Obama said in a speech, and all the damn mainstream media jerked off over it. Like, oh my God, look at her, she has so much integrity. Oh, look at her. I mean, shut up. All right? But anyway, Eric Holder, former Attorney General of the United States, he tried to make his own saying out of the Michelle Obama saying by suggesting that when they go low, we kick them. Meaning that the Democrats violently kick them. What do you think he was implying? And now that the mainstream media is starting to question why in the hell Eric Holder even suggested this, why Eric Holder even made this statement, when they go low, we kick them, Eric Holder put out a tweet today and said, oh, come on, you know what I mean. I mean kick them politically and all this other crap. I mean, give me a break. Now, luckily, folks, Michelle Obama came out today and rebuked Eric Holder's recent comments rearranging her quote. And obviously she was trying to be the holier-than-thou in that situation, saying that, we shouldn't be violent, we shouldn't be this, we shouldn't be that. But lest we forget, Michelle, that, you've got the whole entire Democratic Party hollering for violence, and just because your tranny self is trying to come out here, rebuke Eric Holder's violence and call for violence, that doesn't mean that this is going to go away. I mean, the Democrats have been on all networks, and it doesn't matter who it is. All Democrat surrogates have been on every mainstream media, not just even calling for violence, but justifying what Hillary Clinton said, justifying what Eric Holder said, justifying what Maxine Low IQ Waters said, justifying the calls for violence that these Democrats like Cory Booker are calling for. They are justifying this. And how are they justifying this? By invoking Charlottesville. Huh? Oh, well, you don't understand. There was a lot of right-wing violence before this. I mean, remember Charlottesville? I mean, listen to every fucking talking head that is a Democrat surrogate out here in the mainstream news media, and that's what they're fucking invoking. They're invoking, well, what about Charlottesville? What about Charlottesville? Oh, my God. These leftists are all inciting violence. And what does that say, folks? All of you that are voting Democrat, what does that say about you? What does that say about your civility and about who you are as a person? And if you're trying to justify violence, then explain to me, articulate your grievance. You see, folks, if you take a look at anybody who goes up to these goddamn protesters with a camera and a microphone, they never want to talk. They never want to talk. Why? Because they are ignorant little snot-nosed brats that don't even know why they're out there. Haven't you noticed that? None of them can articulate their grievance. They just want to, quote, fuck shit up. That's all. You hear them all say that. They all say that. These are goddamn anarchists, socialists, communists. They don't even know what the fuck they are. And I'm telling you, folks, I mean, we're going to have to... I don't know what we're going to do. But I am telling each and every one of you that are a law-abiding citizen to practice your Second Amendment and get as many guns and as much ammo as you can possibly muster within your means. Because I'm telling you, folks, these morons are literally trying to invoke some type of civil unrest. And why are they going to do this? Because I'll tell you why. Let's say one or two cities, and this is very easy to do. I'm not trying to scare people, but this is very easy to do. Let's just say one or two cities go into a massive riot that is organized by the left. Well, the obvious response by the current administration would be to either deploy the National Guard and to suppress the uprising or the military itself. And you see, what the left is going to do is justify that, you see, look at Trump. He's a totalitarian. He's a despot. Look at him. He's ordering the military to do this, and this is what they want. So it can provoke more violence and massive violence, and it can spread this disorder from just 2 cities to 10 cities to 12 cities to 20 cities. That's the goal of invoking all this violence, man. That's the goal. And that's why I'm calling on you as a law-abiding American citizen. It is time for you to practice your Second Amendment even if you've never bought a gun. You've got to protect yourselves, your property, your family, your neighborhood, your communities. That's what we need to start focusing on, folks. You need to know your neighbors. If you and your neighbor have a dispute, then get that shit settled out, because you people live next to each other. If society broke down, you'd have to go and protect one another so that you and their family and your family won't get overrun by a bunch of fucking hooligans, Jehudis, or whoever the fuck's going to be out here causing a ruckus. I'm telling you, folks, we got to go back to this. We got to go back to protecting ourselves. And how do you protect yourselves? You go out there and try to have a neighborhood meeting and talk about, hey, look, I mean, things are getting weird out here. And if there's a couple of leftists that agree with that shit, well, then you know not to protect their fucking house. If there's a burglary, you know, I didn't know there was a burglary there. Exactly, you're not, because they are leftists that are trying, and not only trying, but condoning this type of provoking of violence. The right doesn't want violence. We want to protect ourselves. We want to protect our families. We want to protect our property. And by God, folks, our forefathers, they constructed both the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution based upon the Enlightenment thinkers like John Locke. John Locke, in the work titled The Second Treatise of Government, that is where they got the term to pursue, in pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That every human being's got the right for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But in John Locke's Second Treatise of Government, he doesn't say pursuit of happiness. He says life, liberty, and property. And in the Second Treatise of Government, John Locke gives a ethical, moral reason why it's okay to kill someone else because they are infringing upon your property. Because if they infringe, steal, burglarize, terrorize your property, then they are infringing upon your freedom. And you as a free man are in your moral and ethical right to defend your property. And of course, the government and the way the government is, they got a little bit from Montesquieu. There's a bunch of writers that they kind of look towards. I'm talking about the forefathers in constructing this government. But John Locke's Second Treatise of Government, life, liberty, and the pursuit of property. That's a great work, and I strongly advise everybody to read it. I'm pretty sure you can get it for free out here on the internets. But anyway, that's what the leftists are doing. They're having a mob mentality. All the talking heads out here are justifying all the violent calls by Hillary Clinton, by Eric Holder, by Maxine Waters. And how are these surrogates on the mainstream media, these talking heads, this is what I'm talking about, how are they justifying it? Charlottesville, I mean, they're spewing Charlottesville out of their leftist ass like they're going out of style. That's all I hear from any one of these surrogates on the left on any media, whether it's Fox, MSNBC, CNN. I mean, they're talking about, oh, well, Charlottesville. But you're not understanding. Charlottesville, as if Charlottesville justifies this call for violence. As if Charlottesville justifies domestic unrest. I'm telling you folks right now, aside from practicing your Second Amendment to protect yourselves, if there ever is any kind of domestic unrest that is leftist in origin, then we as Americans need to hold the people that stoked this responsible. And you know what I'm talking about, because these people are treasonous. These assholes that are trying to stoke violence, they're the ones that want civil unrest. And I told you why just a few minutes ago. And those that are the most champions for domestic unrest should be the venting of most people's frustrations. They should be the targets. I mean, it's what's right is right, folks. Remember, they're stoking the violence in this Democrat mob. That's why they're always hollering democracy, because what does democracy mean? Mob rule. Mob rule. That's what it is. I'm just saying. And we don't want a Democratic mob taking control in the 2018 midterms. That's why this midterm election is so important, and that's why this broadcast took a turn for the serious. There's no time to troll. There's no time to be like, yay, spaghetti. There's no time for that shit. This is a serious time, man. We're living in serious times. It's time for you to start taking shit serious. Let me get a drink of cola here. Anyway, let me move on to the next subject matter. Because the next subject matter is probably going to take a little bit of my time, to say the least. Now, I don't know if y'all have heard Uncle Bernie's back on the scene speaking. Have y'all heard Uncle Bernie? You know, Bernie Sanders. He's out here on the scene, and what is he doing at these rallies that he's holding? Hey, I'm Uncle Bernie, and I am going to promise all of you all free Medicare. I'm going to give you free health care, and we got to demand from Trump that he give us all free health care because it's a right, it's what we deserve, and that's what I'm talking about. Everybody out there that's listening to me, if you're old, if you're sick, if you're a poshole, you need to be with me, Bernie Sanders, so I can tell you, I can give you free health care. Now, go ahead and come on over here, take your underwears off. No, don't worry about the pants tent. Don't worry about it. And keep contributing to my account. Keep contributing to my political contribution account, okay? Hey, y'all raised me $250 million. All right? You raised me $250 million in 2016, and I want more. I want more than that, so keep contributing. Come on over here. Come on over here. Take your underwears off. All right, keep contributing. Oh yeah. Come on, sit on my apple. Sit on my apple. Oh. Yeah. Oh yeah. You like Uncle Bernie, huh? It's Uncle Bernie. You like sweet Uncle Bernie, don't you? Huh? Oh yeah, keep contributing. Oh yeah, you like that, huh? Do you feel the boing? Huh? Oh, do you feel the boing? Huh? Yeah, a little more. Come on, you like Uncle Bernie. Keep contributing, Uncle Bernie. Oh my God, don't touch me. Oh my God, look what you did. You chipped my apple. Oh yeah. Did you feel the boing? Huh? Did you feel the boing? All right. Now, clean yourself up. All right. Keep contributing. And don't tell anybody I tell you to take your underwears off, all right? And keep contributing to Uncle Bernie, and I'll give you free health care. I mean, that's what he's doing out here. Again, 2018, that's what Bernie fucking Sanders is fucking doing, for Christ's sake. I mean, he's promising Medicare for everybody. He's promising health care for everybody. Who's going to pay for it? And not to mention, folks, why are people so insane that they want free health care? Our health care is a joke. Our health care, the way it's designed, the current hierarchy, it's not intended for us to go to a doctor so that we can get better. It is us being used as guinea pigs, as cash cows, so to speak, for the doctors. You see, folks, the money in being a successful doctor is not healing anybody or curing anybody. It's keeping them coming back. That's the classic drug dealer way, folks. That's the way it is. They don't want to cure anything because you being sick represents, depending on what ailment they want to give you, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, potentially millions of dollars from insurance claims. And that's all you are. They're trying to bilk your insurance company. Well, I see a little anomaly here. Let me go ahead and send you this specialist to get a test, and let me send you to that specialist to get a test, and all this other crap. Why do we think that this fucking medical industry has our interest at hand? I don't understand this. I don't understand why people believe that some fucking idiots in white coats know everything. Now, I know that there's some of you people that are out there listening to me and saying, look, Ghost, come on, dude. I mean, what do you want? What do you want us to do, man? I mean, you know, this is the greatest fucking medical industry in the world. I don't know what you're talking about, man. I mean, look at all that's going on around you. You know, I mean, it's the medical facilities and the hospitals and the pharmaceutical companies that are doing all this, man. I mean, what are you talking about? What am I talking about? I'm talking about how hospitals and doctors' offices are a prime place to die. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. And not to mention the current way that we have, this current scheme of health care shouldn't even be in existence. I've said this time and time again. Why do we have patient-side insurance? Why do we have patient-side insurance? I don't understand that. I have no idea. All it does is encourage doctors to bill as much as they can legitimately bill our insurance companies based upon diagnoses that they decide that they want to inflict upon you. I'm telling you, folks, look, I want to be honest with you. All right, let's go a little deep in here. I'm not going to just make any blank statements. Let's talk about the current state of medical education. You know what I'm talking about, the education they give doctors. It's so corrupt and warped, and it's such a corrupt, warped version of treatment as opposed to cures. Now, where do we get our current Western civilization medical practices? Well, folks, let me take you on a history lesson, okay? The current medical practices in America go back to the Flexner Report. Have you ever heard of the Flexner Report? No, I bet you haven't. It goes back to 1910. The Flexner Report was actually funded by the Carnegie Foundation and the Rockefellers to basically discredit all forms of medicine outside of this new medical institution that they were attempting to fund and create beginning in 1910, the Flexner Report. And from the Flexner Report, folks, is how all medical schools now educate their doctors, their surgeons, etc. And ever since then, in my opinion, if you want my personal opinion, we've seen less and less old people. All right, I keep telling people, take a look at Turner Classic Movies, take a look at the Nostalgia Channel, or hell, take a look at any movie in the 40s and the 30s and count how many old people that you see there. I gabbed, folks, a 50 and 75 year anniversary of the Civil War. And there were Civil War veterans that were there in mass at the 50-year anniversary, and these guys were 80, 70 years old, both Southern and Northern soldiers, back at the turn of the 20th century. Then they had a 75th anniversary, and there were guys that fought in the Civil War that were ages 100, 98, 95, still lucid, still able to remember, still strong enough to attend the 75-year anniversary of the Civil War, the American Civil War. That particular video is circulating on YouTube. I gabbed it. If you want to take a look at it, just YouTube it up for yourself. Civil War anniversary. Now, ever since the Flexner Report, after 1910, from then to now, we have seen more and more people get sick. And why is that, folks? Because we all know that these guys that fund, I'm talking about the Rockefellers and the Carnegies and the Ford Foundation, and these people do not have our best interest at hand. I mean, did y'all remember I showed you guys how to get the Zika virus online, and guess who owns the patent to the Zika virus? The Rockefellers. The Rockefellers. So, I'm telling you right now, our current medical system is not there to protect us. It's there to kill us. Because in the doctor's mind, everything dies. So why not make some money off of this person's health, even if I am making the situation worse by giving them pharmaceuticals that's going to give them bad side effects, or giving them unnecessary surgeries, or giving them unnecessary tests. I mean, seriously. I mean, do y'all remember when Andy Rooney, remember the guy from 60 Minutes, Andy Rooney? Remember he was like 92 years old when he retired from 60 Minutes. He was an old guy, very lucid, still strong. But guess what his practitioner said? Guess what his healthcare provider said, or his doctor, whoever? They said, Rooney, you're an old guy. You're at risk for colon cancer. Let's go ahead and give you one of them those fucking colon cancer tests where all they do is stick a fucking garden hose up your ass and, I don't know, look around for gold up there. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. But you know what they did to old Rooney? By giving him that damn colonoscopy, because a medical error happened, and I'm going to go over these figures here in a second, they accidentally, like most goddamn, it happens more than you think, accidentally took this goddamn, this colonoscopy prod and accidentally scraped his colon and scraped his goddamn, his colon intestine and literally died from having feces kind of infect his whole blood. I mean, it's a bad death. They talked about how he, quote, died on the table, but that's what happened, folks. And, you know, Rooney would probably have been alive for, who knows, 5, 10, 12 years more had he not listened to his fucking doctor. He's already 92. Why would you want a colonoscopy? Who gives a shit? You're 92. No, but I got to listen to the white coat over here. Now, aside from the Flexner report, I'm going to tell you some facts that are going to scare you and probably never want you to go to a doctor again. Hence, I haven't seen a doctor in like, I would say 25 years. Okay? And the reason is, and look, I did go to an emergency room because I thought I was having a heart attack, but luckily I went to university and wanted to pay for it out of my own pocket instead of using my insurance, because something told me that if I used my insurance, these morons were going to do whatever they can to bilk the shit out of me, and I was right. Luckily, University Hospital said, hey, you got some goddamn anxiety problems. Here, let's go ahead and give you some anxiety pills, which I did not take. And I have since learned on my own that what's really my problem is a damaged vagus nerve, which, you know, we don't need to talk about right now. But I'm going to give you some figures right now. Did you know that 250,000 people die each year of medical errors? Huh? Did you know that shit? Medical errors. Meaning that these people, and look, doctors, let's be honest, they're human beings. They go to the golf course. They drink. They get drunk. You know, they go on the cheap. You know, I mean, there's a whole bunch of factors on why we have 250,000 people a year who die from medical errors from this supposed great medical fucking industry that we have in this country. Can you believe that? 250,000 people die from medical errors. And that report, for you people that are asking, well, what are you just making that up? That report comes from Johns Hopkins Medicine, 2016, assholes, okay? And by the way, medical errors is the third leading cause of death in America. Huh? How do you like that? How do you like that? Medical errors, the third largest, the third leading cause of death. The third leading cause of death. Medical errors. How do you like that? You want to go to the doctor now? Huh? How do you like that? I got some more statistics for you. All right? Almost 2 million people a year are afflicted with hospital-borne infections. Can you believe that? Just for going to the hospital, just for, you know, some kind of a routine test, some kind of a routine surgery. 2 million people a year are afflicted with hospital-borne infections of all kinds of bacteria, most of which is, you know, the doctor, you know, most of the time, doctor didn't wash his hands after he fucking wiped his ass, and as a result, you got an infection. That's the truth, folks. I mean, if you don't believe me, I mean, you need to take a consideration into one thing. Whenever you go into a doctor's office, that doctor wears that white coat, wears the same white coat visits the same patients with that white coat, same shoes, same everything, and goes from patient to patient. Yeah, I mean, and on this white coat, you could have blood, snot, mucus, pus, you name it. This is why you have so many hospital and physician-borne bacterial infections. 2 million of them a year. 100,000 of those infected from hospital-borne infections die. And these numbers come from the Center for Disease Control. 2 million people afflicted with hospital-borne infections. 100,000 people of those 2 million. 2 million people a year are afflicted with hospital-borne infections. 100,000 of them die. Now, let me give you some more interesting news here, all right? 12,000 deaths a year. 12,000 deaths a year from unnecessary surgery. Unnecessary surgery. Now, I mean, if that doesn't really give you like, wait a minute, Ghost has got a point here. Is this supposed to be the greatest healthcare system on earth? And folks, we pay more for healthcare than anyone else in the world. And this is what we're getting from the medical. This is from the medical industry. This is you just visiting a hospital. This is just from you visiting a doctor. Now, let's talk about the leading cause of death, okay? The leading causes of death. Now, folks, I want to be honest with you. I have had conflicting information when researching about this subject because I'm not too sure if it's heart disease or AIDS or HIV that kill more people a year. I've got a figure that states 1.1 million people in America die each year of HIV/AIDS, and heart disease, which in some CDC numbers leads the leading cause of death of heart disease. Now, either one, I'm just trying to point out that the leading causes of death are all related to health. Now, if we've got the best medical facilities, if we've got the best pharmaceuticals, if we got the best this and that, how come every leading cause of death I'm about to tell you has everything to do with health? And the numbers I'm about to give you are from every one of these numbers except for the HIV number. The HIV number I got from some pro-HIV self-help fucking website. I didn't have enough time to find out where they got those numbers, but I can only assume someone helping people with the AIDS would have some kind of an idea of how many people die from it every year. But according to that website, that pro-AIDS website, 1.1 million people die every year in America of AIDS. Now, as of the CDC's 2017's numbers, it listed heart disease as the number one leading cause of death in America at 635,260 deaths for heart disease. Cancer is number 2, depending on whether or not you believe AIDS is number 1. Cancer is number 2, 598,038 deaths per year of cancer. Chronic lower respiratory diseases like lung cancer and asthma, things of that nature, 154,596 deaths a year. And these are 2017 numbers, okay, from CDC. Stroke victims, 142,142 deaths. Alzheimer's, 116,103 deaths. Diabetes, this is all 1 year. This is all in 1 year, folks. Diabetes, 80,058 deaths. Flu and pneumonia, 51,537 deaths. Kidney disease, 50,046 deaths. And now we get into things like suicide. Can you believe that? Every one of the leading causes of death are all medical related. That doesn't ring any fucking bells with people? That doesn't cause people a little bit of concern that if we want to count the AIDS 1.1 million stat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 causes of death are all medical. And this is supposed to be the best medical industry in the world? It's not, folks. It's a fucking scam. The way the current medical system is placed right now is to make you sick and to make you come back. And moreover, folks, because you go to the doctor doesn't mean the doctor knows what he's doing. He's practicing. That's why they always call their medical office a practice. Because they're practicing on you. And you know what they do if they have a mistake? Like, let's go back to the medical errors. Let's go back to the medical errors, okay? 250,000 people die each year from medical errors. That's not even listed in the CDC numbers of 2017. 250,000 people die of medical errors, okay? Now, if 250,000 people are dying of medical errors, then why are we going to the doctor? I mean, let's just be honest. If 250,000 people died each year if they flew, would you get on an airplane? I mean, I'm just asking. If 250,000 people died each year on a plane, would you get on a fucking plane? No! And folks, this is just going to the doctor, going to the hospital, 250,000 people dead. Medical error. And folks, look at all the leading causes of death in America, all diseases. And you know something, folks? You have Bernie Sanders talking about free Medicare for all. Who benefits from that, really? You think it's going to be you? Or do you think it's going to be this entire scam of a medical system that we have in America today that doesn't intend to cure or help anybody? It's intended to make you as a guinea pig so that whatever doctor, whatever medical group, whatever hospital can make as much money as they possibly can on you. And not to mention, why are we having so much diagnoses of cancer? I mean, by the way, folks, you know that the life expectancy in America has gone down the past 3 years in a row. Huh? This is Obamacare. This is the greatest medical industry in the world, right? Folks, all of these diseases, if you want my opinion, can not only be prevented, but can be reversed if these people just understood what the hell is going on with them. Now, what I'm going to do right now, folks, is I'm going to show you something on Gab, okay? And the reason I'm showing you this is because, folks, doesn't anybody think that the reason why we are getting so sick has everything to do with what we are putting in our bodies as far as eating is concerned? And I know people are saying, Ghost, what are you talking about? What do you mean? What do you mean that it's our food? Well, folks, if you eat out all the time, I'm going to be completely honest with you, all you are getting is nothing but sugar, salt, and fat. That's why every time you go out to eat, it tastes so good. It tastes so good because it's nothing but sugar, salt, and fat. But even then, you've got to worry on whether or not the food that you're eating is even real fucking food. And I'm sure people are saying, Ghost, what are you talking about? Real food? What do you mean? Well, folks, I'm going to gab out a video, and you can either watch this now or watch it after the show. And I want you to take a look at how much fake fucking food you people are eating out here. You don't even know it. You don't even know it. Look at my gab. Fake, biologically, chemically induced food. Okay, and that's just the chemically induced food. That's just chemically made food. If you want to be grossed out, take a look at my Gab. Take a look at that goddamn video I just posted. But aside from the chemically induced Soylent Green food that isn't even real food, it's all a bunch of chemicals. Aside from that, I think people need to realize that we are malnourished as a goddamn society. And people are asking, what do you mean, Ghost? Why are we malnourished? What do you mean? We're all a bunch of fat asses out here in America. Folks, the reason that people are obese is because their body is not being nourished. How many obese people did you see back in the old days? Besides gluttons. Remember they used to call real big fat dudes back in the old days gluttons? They were gluttons. They drank, they smoked, they ate, but they still lived to be old age. Remember Oliver and Hardy? Remember Laurel and Hardy? Excuse me. John Oliver and, Lyle and Hardy. Lyle was this little skinny guy. Hardy was this big fat dude. This is old school stuff. I mean, Laurel and Hardy was like 1920s, 1930s. Really, really funny stuff. Hardy was a really big fat guy, and Hardy lived to be about 80, 90 years old. Why even being a fat guy, being a glutton? Because the nutrients in the soil were in our food. We don't have nutrients in our soil anymore, folks. We don't have the proper nourishment. You see, back in the old days, we used to burn a lot of wood. And the reason we burned a lot of wood, folks, is because we didn't have electricity. So what everyone would do with their ashes is they would throw the ashes over their crops. And whenever you burn down wood, folks, that ash, that's not ash. That's the leftover nourishment, the nutrients, the minerals, the vitamins that were sucked into that tree. So whenever these are people that used to grow their own crops, they would throw this over the soil, over their planted crops, and the crops themselves would use those nutrients, and it would be in those crops. And that's why you have people back in the old days living longer, because they have proper nourishment. That's why you didn't see so many fat people back in the old days, because people got proper nourishment, the proper minerals, the proper vitamins, the proper amino acids, etc. And because these crops that were grown with ashes being used to fertilize, not only did the nutrition from that go into the plants were also fed to the cows and the pigs and all these other animals, which the nutrients from the crops went into the livestock. So, folks, this is a big deal. This is a big deal when it comes to our health and why we are literally, as a civilization, withering away into medical hopelessness. And why you have so many people demanding for more and more health care. We need to properly understand why we're being afflicted with diseases. We're being afflicted with diseases because we're not being properly nourished. Because the nourishment, you know what they're doing now to cows? They're feeding cows, instead of grain, they're feeding them antibiotics and all kinds of other kinds of garbage. They even feed cows paper, folks, to make them fat. It makes cows fatter. You're not getting any nutrients from a cow anymore. You're not getting any nutrients from these veggies that you're eating. You may be getting some of them, but you're not getting the ones that would traditionally be in all of our food when we used to throw the ashes of burnt wood as fertilizer for our crops. And this is a big fucking deal, man. This is a huge deal. That's why we've got so many fat people. Fat people are malnourished. Your body is telling you, hey, I'm malnourished, I'm still hungry, I'm not satisfied, etc. And that's why if you take a listen to some of these people that live over to 100, many of them will say, oh, I remember Mother, she would grow fruits and vegetables in the garden. Go in, and I used to always eat out of the garden. And why did they grow their own garden? Because they fertilized their own crops and their own garden with wood ashes. Take a look at when a forest fire completely scorches the earth of a forest out there in California. Within 2 years, within 2 to 3 years, the vegetation grows even more lush. than it was prior to the fire. Why? Because the fire produces ashes, and those ashes are nutrients that feed and fertilize the earth. And this is why, folks, we have so many goddamn diseases, ailments, because we are malnourished. We're not taking the proper nourishment. And instead of a medical industry trying to help us, instead of a medical industry trying to properly educate us, instead of a medical industry trying to cure us, they are wanting us to continuously be sick so that they can continue to make money. Now, this is a very, very rough debate to have when it comes to the medical industry, because what we have here is not privatization. Remember, Obamacare gave legal authority over your health to the insurance companies. And that's why nowadays you're at the whim of a doctor and whether or not they're going to diagnose you with anything so they can bill your insurance company. Why is there so many cancers, folks? Because chemotherapy, the people who distribute and manufacture chemotherapy give kickbacks to those that prescribe chemotherapy for cancer. Look it up. It's a fucking fact. Just like they're getting kickbacks for all these pharmaceuticals that they're prescribing to you with these stupid ailments. I mean, folks, I have done some research and learned, folks, that many of these goddamn diseases we could stop ourselves. We could prevent ourselves so that the health industry isn't as expensive. I mean, heart disease, it could be a whole plethora of different problems with heart disease. I mean, most heart disease, believe it or not, folks, is a lack of selenium and magnesium. And people will make the argument, with Ghost, I eat a lot of, foods that are selenium-based, like Brazilian nuts, and I eat tuna and fish that's selenium-based. I eat a lot of magnesium that's in beef and meats. I don't understand. Well, because, folks, unfortunately, all the junk food and all the garbage and all the crap we put into our body, it literally is destroying the stomach acids in our stomach. And those stomach acids are there so that we could properly break down, digest, and absorb the nutrients that we need so that we can intake and be nourished people, like so we can have nourished bodies. And this is why you have a lot of people who are fat that are truly malnourished, because, let me tell you something, your gut, they always tell you, hey, you got to go with your gut, you got to listen to your gut. Your gut is where all your immune system is pretty much based, your mental system, everything. And if your gut is out of order, believe me, I've learned a lot about this. If your gut is out of order, if you don't have the proper gut bacteria and enzymes to break down the food so that you can absorb the nutrients, then you got to combat that problem first before you can go and, prevent or cure any of these ailments that are now afflicting most of America. I mean, heart disease is one of them. Cancer. You know what, folks? You want to know why we're seeing more cancers? Because, folks, cancer is already inside of you. Cancer is already inside of you. Why do you think they're like, oh, well, it helps destroy free radicals? That's what it is. We eat this so it can destroy free radicals. Why do they call it free radicals, even though it's a stupid medical term? Because cancer's already inside of you. You want to know why cancer develops? Cancer develops because you are not getting enough nutrition in some capacity. And moreover, you're not getting certain vitamins in some capacity. Remember, each one of your organs requires different trace elements, different minerals, different omega fats, different vitamins. I mean, you have to understand nutrition, man, to understand every one of your fucking organs needs something so it can continue to run. And if you don't give yourself the proper nourishment so that you and your body can fight these free radicals, then that's when you have cancers develop. Cancer is an attempt at your body trying to remedy something because you're not getting enough of something. It's in your body, man. That's why we're getting so many cancer diagnoses, for Christ's sake. And you know something? This is why back in the old days, old people used to just die of old age. Remember that? Old age. I mean, they even talk about that in, what is it? Groundhog Day. Remember when Bill Murray's character in Groundhog Day tries to go back, you know, every day and try to save that one bum on the street, giving him a meal, doing this and that, and he could not prevent him from dying over and over again. And when he asked the people in the hospital, how did he die? He was just old. He died of old age. That's what dying of old age was, folks, was the fact that, hey, you grew old, you know, all your ailments are finally coming back to haunt you. I mean, some of these ailments, folks, that are now being afflicted by people that are in their teens, even younger, like diabetes, like kidney disease, like cancers. I mean, we're seeing younger and younger people with cancers. It's all malnourishment, man. It's all malnourishment. I know that it's very hard for people to understand this, but you need to realize that the 99.9% of our ailments could be eliminated through preventative or potentially reversing care by giving people enough education on what it takes to nourish their bodies. And if your body can't process or can't absorb certain minerals or nutrients, well, then you got to figure out something in your stomach. Obviously, you've got to stop. And I'm not telling anybody any kind of medical advice. But if you truly want to reverse things that you believe are wrong within yourself, like diabetes, folks, we know that diabetes, we could cure this. And as a matter of fact, I think I read a medical article that they cured this like 60 or 70 years ago. And all diabetes is insulin resistance. Now, why is it that you have diabetes? Because your pancreas has become insulin resistant, meaning that it has burned sugar for fuel for so long that it can no longer do it anymore. And folks, I'm not trying to, advertise some kind of a diet. I'm not trying to tell anybody anything, but I need people to understand that sugar is what fuels growths within your body. It is a fuel for cancer. It is a fuel for cancer. Look, I'm not perfect. I like Coca-Colas. I like cupcakes. But folks, there are some people that eat this on a daily basis. They use this to fuel their body. And you see, that's not what your body was meant to do. Your body was meant to use fats as a means of converting energy, not sugar. And you've got all these morons out here guzzling down these damn energy drinks. They're guzzling down all these sugary drinks in an attempt to get a pep. That's why they call Pepsi. Remember, Pepsi give you a little pep. They've been using sugar for so long to fuel their body that their bodies can no longer fuel itself with sugar. And what you'll find is, folks, is that if you cut out sugar and you cut out carbs, you'll find that you can completely reverse diabetes, because then you'll train your body to, instead of utilizing sugar as a means of energy, to use fats in your body as a means of energy. And what do I mean fats? I'm talking fats, folks. We used to, in the old days, we used to cook things with real butter and lard. And everybody now, if you tell anybody that you cook with butter and lard, you got cholesterol, it's got too high cholesterol, boy. Cholesterol this, cholesterol that. Folks, that whole high cholesterol bullshit, that was nothing more than a fucking scam to sell Crisco. And do you know what Crisco used to be, folks? It used to be a German submarine lubricant. You understand that? And it was bought by, I believe it was Bayer, you know, the aspirin company. And they tried to redesign it and reuse it for all kinds of different stuff and couldn't sell it. So here they created this idea of, well, look, we'll go ahead and make this and market this a cooking oil or a cooking oil substitute, and we'll make it pretend that it's safer. All we'll do is just, you know, because remember, it's Bayer aspirin. They could fund their own studies, you know. They could fund their own studies. So they were like, let's go ahead and let's market this lubricant, this submarine lubricant. Let's market it as a substitute for lard and butter, and let's market it safer than lard and butter, and let's call it Crisco. Crisco, which is close to Christ, or you know, it's Christ, to be honest with you, about in another language. And it'll be a holy thing. And I'm not joking, folks. This is what it all comes down to. This whole, oh, we got to lower our cholesterol bullshit. That's where it all came from. And now you see more and more people keeling over of heart disease. And these people have used margarines, have used oils their whole entire life. And that's why I'm telling you, you have to use real butter, real fats, animal fats. Not artificial fats, not processed oils. All right? I mean, cook your shit in lard again. Cook your shit in butter again. Because, folks, if they're going to say that, well, you know, you're going to get high cholesterol, folks, take a look at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6th cause of death, Alzheimer's. Did you know that Alzheimer's is complete bullshit? You want to know why Alzheimer's is happening, folks? It's because they're prescribing statin drugs. And statin drugs are supposed to lower your cholesterol. But you know something, folks? Your brain is 97% cholesterol! Okay? That's your brain! 97% cholesterol! So if you deprive your body of cholesterol, is it no wonder why your brain just kind of withers away? And that's literally what Alzheimer's is. It deteriorates. I'm just saying, folks. I mean, if you don't believe me, what are you going to believe the white coat who's got somebody do the math on this, all right? 1.1 million people dying of the AIDS. 635,000 people dying of heart disease. This is 1 year. 598,000 people dying of cancer. 155,000 people dying of chronic lower respiratory disease. 142,000 people dying of stroke. 116,000 people dying of Alzheimer's. 80,000 people dying of diabetes. 51,000 people dying of the flu, and 50,000 people dying of kidney disease. You're going to continue to believe that? You're going to continue to take their pharmaceuticals, which cause more goddamn side effects, so that you have to take more medication? Come on, man. Why can't we just teach people the proper nutrition to prevent many of these ailments? Why? Why is this so hard? No, you got Bernie Sanders, and look, Bernie Sanders, hold on. He wants to give you free Medicare. Who does that benefit? That doesn't benefit you. That benefits the people already in the medical industry. I'm just saying, folks. And somebody in the chat room is saying, olive oil didn't do nothing. It's a good fat. Oh, yeah? Why don't you take a look at the average person that's Mediterranean diet. That's the Mediterranean diet where they emphasize, you know, lots of oils. All that shit's going into your arteries, man. That's pure fat. That's pure fat. That's pure fat. I mean, the average person that, you know, lives by the Mediterranean diet, I think I read the average age to them is like, what, 58, 60 years old? And there's a reason why they want people in the Mediterranean utilizing that diet, because remember, they're in socialism, so they want as many people dying off as they can so they don't have to pay them any kind of social services. But why can't we teach people this stuff, man? Why can't we teach people, that we can prevent a lot of this by just eating the proper nutrition? And I know there's a lot of you people out there that are like, Ghost, but man, eating fast food is so great, and eating this and that is so great, and this. Listen. You can eat it for as long as you want, but don't be surprised if you're afflicted with some ailment that just hits you out of the blue, because this shit that they're shitting out at most of these fast food locations is not real food. There's a lot of these fast food locations that pride themselves on not being real food. And let's just say that you go to the supermarket and you're like, Ghost, I'm okay, dude. Okay, I'm okay, dude. All right, I get beef every day. I do this, I do that. Oh, yeah? How do you know that you're not getting the genetically modified foods? How do you know that? That's another factor that you've got to take in consideration. Genetically modified foods, aside from them no longer utilizing ashes to fertilize the food so we can get the proper nutrients, how the hell do you know that you're not getting genetically modified crops, genetically modified cows? You know that they're serving cloning cows now. Do you know that? They're going to serve cloning cows if they haven't already done it. So anyway, folks, instead of bitching and moaning about wanting more health care, which is going to increase our taxes, which could potentially bankrupt our government, why don't we start talking about preventative care? I mean, I've given you all the statistics of our great supposed medical industry, and, I mean, this is a great medical industry, this many people dying. I told you, folks, you know how many people die of gun deaths each year? We hear the media all the fucking time. We hear the fucking media. Oh, guns. Oh, we got to eliminate guns. Oh, the guns are dangerous. Oh, the guns are making a bad American society. Oh, the guns are making society so unsafe. Oh, my God, guns. You know how many gun deaths there are each year? 33,000 a year. That's it. Did you hear how many deaths there were when it came to medical fucking diseases and afflictions? Only 33,000 gun deaths. And yet, why isn't anybody bitching about our medical industry? Why isn't anybody bitching that people are dying? Innocent people are dying, and this fucking medical industry knows it. They know it. They fucking know it. It's just you remain silent. You refuse to understand the truth. And that's what they're profiting on. Your ignorance. I mean, what is the goddamn symbol for the medical industry? It is two serpents crawling up the tree of life. And you think these people have your best interest at hand, for Christ's sake? Wake up! Jesus Christ. Anyway, we're like 20 minutes into the third hour. My apologies, but I had to say this stuff. I had to say it. Because I'm tired of people saying, oh, we need more health care, and we need free Medicare, and we need free medications, and we need free this and free that. Why don't you just put the proper nourishment in your body? Look, I'm not saying that there is some school you can go to. I'm not saying that there's some kind of a little here it is. This is what you gotta do. I'm not telling you there is. Because, folks, haven't you noticed that there is no nutrition classes in school? There is no information, no class in college. You know how much medical school emphasizes nutrition? Like 20 hours of medical school. And that's just based upon what to tell the patient not to eat when it comes to certain ailments. That's why I'm telling you, folks, you know who gets more proper nourishment? What gets more proper nourishment is your dog and your dog food. You know that? Your dog, make sure in all these dog foods, especially the ones that I buy for my dog, no plugging anyone, but Blue Buffalo, there's all kinds of nutrients. You can read it on the bag. It's this, it's that. Your dog is getting more nutrients than you do. And that's why I'm saying it's time for you guys to reevaluate your health, because you can make these things reverse. Even if you've already fucked your body up, you can reverse these things if you take the proper nutrients. And if you find that you can't absorb a certain nutrient, well, figure out how to get your gut bacteria in balance again so that it can break down whatever's necessary so that you can absorb these nutrients, man. I mean, we don't need... I mean, look, all the fucking money that we spend on cancer! Every fucking year! I'm fucking sick of it!
Oh, we need more money for cancer. Oh, save the boobies. And all
this fucking money! And it's bullshit, man! It's all a bunch of bullshit! It's all bullshit, man. And I can't believe nobody's more angrier about this than I am. You know, I find it sick that people will just, let their brothers, their sisters, their mothers, their fathers die off believing this fucking medical industry and not holding them accountable. You know that? You know that you can look this up in China. In China, whenever because, in China, they still use their old Eastern medicine. Even though you've got the Chinese government incrementally trying to bring in Western medicine into China, whenever a Western doctor has a patient of China killed, the family of the people that doctor killed kills the doctor. There was an epidemic a few years back that the Chinese government was trying to stop Chinese people from killing Westernized doctors because people that were practicing Western medicine in China, a lot of people were dying from it, and you had Chinese people, their families pissed off, killing Western medicine doctors, man. Just saying, man. I'm just saying. Anyway, look, I gotta get to some international news here. I'm just simply stating I'm sick and tired of hearing about this healthcare debate when we could be preventing this ourselves. All right? We could be preventing this ourselves. I'm not saying that you can't have some fast food every now and then, but by God, you can't live on it, man. You can't live on this artificial fake food, chemical nanotechnology, whatever the fuck they're throwing in the food bullshit. You can't live on it. At least a long life. You ain't gonna live a long life with it. I'm just trying to help you guys, man. I'm not a doctor, but I sure as hell don't want to be one. And after all the stats I just showed you, you gonna believe a doctor? You gonna believe a goddamn doctor, for Christ's sake? Anyway, let me move on. All right. Let me move on. All right, let's talk a little bit about this Jamal Khashoggi that I was talking about last show. And what did I say last show? I said that look, let's be honest, the Saudi royal family murdered Jamal Khashoggi. Why? Because this guy was a part of the old vanguard, the Wahhabist vanguard of the previous two kingdoms in Saudi Arabia. Now, why do I say that Jamal Khashoggi was a part of the CIA? Folks, the CIA, and look, I don't want to get into conspiracy theories here, but because, you see, once you start telling the truth, people start saying, Ghost, you're come on, that's a lie. You know what, that's like you're going into Alex Jones territory, Ghost, and give me a break, dude. Well, folks, I'm going to be completely honest with you. 9/11/2001, if you don't believe that was not just an inside job involving our government, but an inside job involving Saudi Arabia, the Mossad, and elements of NATO, then you don't know your ass from your elbow. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not joking around. I'm not even kidding, because at this point, we all have to understand that after 9/11, all hell broke loose as far as international relations were concerned. And why is it that they wanted to start 9/11? Why did they even pull off 9/11, folks? They pulled off 9/11 so that, just like it said in the Project for New American Century document, or PNAC document, they needed a new Pearl Harbor to justify the war of civilizations. Okay? Now, before I get too in depth, let me go ahead and just post I'm going to post a very interesting documentary. I'm going to post this right now on my Gab. It's called what is it called? It's called September 11th, The New Pearl Harbor. Now, this is one of 3 parts, and the whole documentary is about 5 or 6 hours, okay? And the reason it's so long is because it goes into explicit detail into every component of why the narrative that was given to the United States people was not, I repeat, not the actual truth of what actually happened on 9/11. All right? Let me go ahead and put here. Let me just go ahead and post it. I'm not even going to say anything here. All right, there it is right there. Take a look at my Gab. And the only reason I'm putting this up is because I want people to realize, if they fucking view the truth, that you'll realize that September 11th was an inside job. Now, who caused September 11th? I can tell you right now it was George H.W. Bush, who basically was the mastermind behind this, because lest we forget, he was the former head of the CIA. Not to mention, he had been very close with the Wahhabist faction of Saudi Arabia. I mean, y'all remember Bandar Bush? I talked about Bandar Bush in the last broadcast. Bandar Bush was the head of Saudi intelligence, the CIA of Saudi Arabia. And why did they call Prince Bandar Bush? They called him Bandar Bush because him and Bush were very close. I mean, the Bush family would have Bandar over during the holidays. I mean, that just goes to show you how close, not just Bush and Bandar, but Bush and the Saudi Arabians were. They're very close. And all this is interwoven in intelligence agencies. Now, lest we forget that the Mossad was also involved in this particular event, because if you don't think so, why don't you just take a look at the man who profited off of the September 11th attacks? Because people don't remember that the only buildings that fell down on September 11, 2001 was the ones owned by Larry Silverstein. Okay? Those were the only buildings that fell down on September 11th. Building 1, 2, and World Trade Center 7. The 3 that were owned by Larry Silverstein. Okay, and we obviously know the Saudi connections because all the Saudis were alleged the hijackers. Now, they blamed it right away on who? Osama bin Laden. Now, Osama bin Laden, folks, you have to know, is not a real Al-Qaeda mastermind. He is a CIA asset. And I talked about this on the last broadcast. And his code name in the CIA was Tim Osman. Tim Osman. Now, the reason they went with this bin Laden situation, because bin Laden was on his deathbed in 2001, 2000. Meaning that, and this was not a lie, he was on dialysis. You know, he was not well. Now, Benazir Bhutto, and I talked about this on the last broadcast, she came back to Pakistan during 2003, 2004, 2005 in an attempt to run against Pervez Musharraf. And she said in an interview, and you can look this up, this is on YouTube right now, Benazir Bhutto, she was in an interview and she said in that interview that bin Laden had been dead since 2002. And everybody knew it. And folks, after Benazir Bhutto said that, she was assassinated, and you can look at her assassination, which is also on YouTube. Okay? Now, why am I bringing all this up? Because Jamal Khashoggi was a part of the King Abdullah and the previous kingdom, which were both Wahhabist kingdoms of Saudi Arabia. And Jamal Khashoggi was a journalist that not just interviewed Osama bin Laden. Jamal Khashoggi supposedly interviewed bin Laden going back to the Russian-Afghan war. And if you take a look at Jamal Khashoggi, it was his journalism that created the legend of Osama bin Laden in the Arabic world, in the Islamic world. It was all these goddamn pieces written by this so-called journalist, Jamal Khashoggi, that created the bin Laden character. All the facts that we know about bin Laden mostly come from Jamal Khashoggi's journalist work. If you take a look at Jamal Khashoggi's Wikipedia page, he was so close to bin Laden that he supposedly was going to talk to bin Laden so to prevent him from being so terroristic or some shit. Now, why am I saying that Khashoggi dead, Jamal Khashoggi, this journalist, that's now being plastered all over the American mainstream media, why am I saying it's an internal war with the CIA? Because what have I been saying here for the past several months? I said that with the Trump administration taking over, the new policy of the CIA was not to use the Al-Qaeda ISIS fighters against the United States people, which, folks, regardless of what you believe, that policy, which is utilizing the CIA assets of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, they were used against the United States people. And why were they used against the United States people? To perpetuate what 9/11 started, which was the war on terror. It was the war on terror. This is what this was all about, folks, okay? Now, with that being said, when Trump came into office, there was a new kingdom in Saudi Arabia, the bin Salman kingdom. And Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince, he's going to take over the reins of the kingdom if he hasn't already done so. And he wants to take the kingdom away from Wahhabism and more towards a secular idea of Islam, which is completely against the Wahhabists that had been in control of the Saudi Arabian kingdom for the past two kingdoms. Now, once again, let me see if I can go ahead and re-gab this. I talked about during the 1-year anniversary of that Las Vegas shooting. Y'all remember that? That Las Vegas shooting was nothing more than a cover-up to cover up an attempted assassination on Mohammed bin Salman. On Mohammed bin Salman, who was in Las Vegas at the time. And lest we forget, all this activity happened at the Mandalay Bay in the Four Seasons floors of the Mandalay Bay. Who owned the Four Seasons floors? Al-Walid. Al-Walid is the Saudi billionaire who has been funding all the madrasas all over the world. The madrasas in Indonesia, the madrasas in Pakistan. He was funding the Taliban. He was funding all this terrorist crap. That's why Al-Walid thought he was untouchable, okay? Now, right after they attempted to try to kill Mohammed bin Salman, let me go ahead and repost that video. If y'all take a look at my Gab right now, that video right now that I just posted is of Mohammed bin Salman in disguise being extracted out of Las Vegas. And this was during the shooting by some kind of a team. If you take a look, this was definitely an extraction team because they had a goddamn gurney with them, and their job was to get Mohammed bin Salman out dead or alive. Now, folks, like I said on the last broadcast, it wasn't, what, 2, 3, 4 days later that Mohammed bin Salman went back to Saudi Arabia and started the Saudi Arabian Purge. And the Saudi Arabian Purge was a direct consequence of the attempt on bin Salman's life. And not only did Al-Walid get taken in the purge, but the bin Laden family, Bandar Bush, and all the asset Wahhabists that were used by the CIA during the 9/11 attacks, during the Bush administration, during the Obama administration. Mohammed bin Salman has purged all these people. He's got them jailed. He's torturing them. He's confiscated their wealth, etc. Now, there are people within the CIA that liked a lot of these Wahhabists. They were friends of these Wahhabists, like Al-Walid, like Bandar Bush, etc. So what's happening here is that you've got elements of the CIA that are going against the current CIA operation of utilizing the old assets of ISIS and Al-Qaeda, and instead of utilizing it on American people, we as Americans under the Trump administration are utilizing these assets against our foes. That's why you're seeing ISIS show up in places you wouldn't even have imagined. They are in Chechnya, bombing police in Chechnya. They were the ones that claimed responsibility for the attack on the military parade within Iran. They were inside Iran. And on top of that being a message to the Iranian government from, the black operations of America, aside from them hitting up their military parade, killing 60, military marchers and shit, aside from that, that location of the military march is the location of their biggest oil fields. So it was another slap in the mouth to the Iranians saying, look, not only can we get you inside your country, if you decide that you're going to sell oil to Russia, China, the European Union, and the UK, remember we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, that the UK, France, Germany, the EU, Russia, China, they were going to go against the United States sanctions, still do business with Iran, and try to find a new payment system so they can continue to trade oil with Iran. Well, that military parade attack kind of put a halt on that. It put a halt on that because we now have told in black operative terms that we not only can get inside your country, but we can hit up your military parade. And by hitting up their military parade and killing 60 military officers in that parade shows you the trust, the level of trust that the Iranians have amongst one another. All of those Iranians marching in the military march were unarmed. Now, why would you have unarmed troops if you don't have the trust in your military? So that within itself exposed a lot of shit. You're also finding ISIS show up in Afghanistan. You're having ISIS show up in weird parts of the world. And why? Because we as the black operations of America are literally utilizing the ISIS and Al-Qaeda fighters against our foes as opposed to against America. But even though we're doing that now, there's elements of the CIA that still don't like what Mohammed bin Salman did to the purge of many people that were very close to the CIA. I'm talking about Bandar Bush, the bin Laden family. There's a bunch of people. You can look at the Saudi purge, look at the names, and you can connect the dots with them being involved with the CIA if you do your research. But back to Jamal Khashoggi. Jamal Khashoggi, once again, a journalist that is being plastered all over the goddamn mainstream media that allegedly was murdered by Saudi Arabia. But come on, he's murdered. You're not going to find his body. The reason that they killed him was because Jamal Khashoggi was the man who made the narrative of Osama bin Laden. And he was now being a critic of the current kingdom of Mohammed bin Salman, and he was being used by a CIA-linked news media in Washington Post, because lest we forget, the Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, and lest we forget that Jeff Bezos is, it's a meme that he's a CIA agent. It's a meme, for Christ's sake. Why? Because the CIA utilizes their cloud services. And I'm going to tell you this right now. If you do business with the CIA, you are the CIA. Always remember that. And the Washington Post employed Jamal Khashoggi, and Jamal Khashoggi was talking against the bin Salman purge, talking against bin Salman going against Iran, talking about Trump, etc. And lest we forget that he was pro-Wahhabist. So it behooved Mohammed bin Salman to eliminate Jamal Khashoggi. And that's exactly what happened. Now that Jamal Khashoggi has been eliminated, who are the people that are calling for the president to disassociate with Saudi Arabia and that we got to cut ties with Saudi Arabia? Nothing more than the leftist media. I mean, one of the guys on the Capitol, on Capitol Hill, in the Beltway, one of the first guys to say something about disassociating or punishing Saudi Arabia was anti-Trumper Bob Corker. So what I'm saying is, folks, you've got a lot of anti-Trump CIA intelligence agents. And look, lest we forget that John Brennan was the former CIA head during the tenure of this ISIS run of Wahhabism and head slicing and throwing gays off buildings during the 2014, 15, 16 years. John Brennan, you know, he's a Wahhabist himself. Look it up. Hayden, Clapper, these people that are anti-Trump, that are really integrated, they were heads of intelligence agencies. Why are they talking against Trump? Because Trump is going against operations that have been conducted since 9/11 and is reversing those operations to hit up foes, or what would used to be friends under the Bush and Obama administration. We're using them against foes, man. Now, Turkey, they're trying to put a highlight on this because, remember, Turkey was trying to flex its nuts, trying to be the leader of the Middle East. Remember, Erdogan was trying to call for, you know, a Middle Eastern unification, and that we need to go against Israel, and we need to do this, and we need to do that. Until Donald Trump hit him up with sanctions, baby, remember? And then once Turkey got hit up with sanctions, I mean, their lira crashed. I mean, they're having economic instability. Erdogan's having a tough time. You don't hear much shit talking out of Erdogan since the sanctions from America, except in the recent United Nations speech in which he blamed Donald Trump of being a economic terrorist. But now Turkey is utilizing, or Erdogan, I should say, he's utilizing this obvious murder that happened on his soil and is trying to put a media spotlight on it to try to force some kind of divisive wedge against the United States and Saudi Arabia, utilizing the uprising of public opinion. That's why you can't go into whatever media, I mean, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, they're all talking about this fucking Jamal Khashoggi. They're all talking about him. Why? Because, folks, I'm telling you, everyone that you see in the media, at least 80% of them are all CIA operatives. They're all CIA operatives. If you take a look at that movie that I posted up about 9/11 and New Pearl Harbor, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. All right? I mean, I could give you another documentary that literally, there's no documentary, there's no talking, it's just the compilation of things that were broadcasted during the Kennedy assassination that shows you how they built the narrative for the Kennedy assassination and how the media and the people portraying what was supposedly news were fucking complicit, man. These fucking news people are always complicit. And that's why Jamal Khashoggi is some big fucking deal. Because, folks, and I told you this, I think, on the last broadcast, if you take a look at the footage of when Donald Trump visited Saudi Arabia, Saudi Arabia literally treated Trump like a sultan. I mean, they, showed him around Mecca, and they gave him, some big well-to-do. And then King bin Salman made a speech in which he threw all the blame of Middle Eastern terrorism, he threw all the blame of Middle Eastern discord on Iran, and how it was Iran's fault, and how Iran is the cause of terrorism, and Iran this and Iran that. I mean, literally, look it up. It's still on YouTube. When Trump visited Saudi Arabia, And that's when Saudi Arabia, the United States, and Egypt, remember General Sisi was at that event, they made a security pact that went against what was the status quo during the Bush and Obama administration. And that security pact was to eliminate Islamic terror, so to speak. But when in actuality what they were doing is they're going to utilize the terror assets that they have and they've cultivated against the foes of this new establishment of a small order, with the United States and Saudi Arabia leading the way into taking over the Middle East. I mean, I told you guys right after the Syrian airstrikes in the beginning of 2017. Y'all remember that? I told you guys during the Syrian strikes of 2017 that the new foreign policy of the Trump administration was to pit Saudi Arabia against Iran. And take a look at what's happened. Take a look at what's happened. Now, I don't know if you've seen the questions in relation to Jamal Khashoggi. I don't know if you've seen the questions posed to the president by the mainstream media. And many of the questions are you going to punish Saudi Arabia? Are you not going to sell them arms? Are you going to do this? And I mean, literally instigating a separation. And why are they doing that? Because they're trying to cause a rift in the United States, trying to cause a hatred amongst Mr. and Mrs. Joe Sixpack against Saudi Arabia. Because Saudi Arabia is actually helping the United States, folks, literally combat the old New World Order. And that's why you've got Iran scared shitless. That's why you've got China bumbling all over the fucking place. As a matter of fact, we're hitting China's ass pretty hard, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But, you know, Russia, I mean, everybody realizes that the United States is legit, man. I mean, Trump's election threw a fucking wrench, a monkey wrench, into this New World Order globalist system that is communist in nature that these motherfuckers have been trying to create for the past 150 years. And I think people need to understand that, you know, these people that have been helping cultivate this globalist system aren't going to go quietly in that good night. And that's what's happening right now. There is a war in the CIA, folks. There's a war. And look, Jamal Khashoggi, that's just one aspect of propagandizing a hatred towards Saudi Arabia amongst the American populace, forcing the president to react negatively towards Saudi Arabia. But aside from that, I've told you about all these things that are happening in a black operative capacity. For instance, the limo crash that killed 20 in New York. I told you about that guy. I mean, that guy who owned Prestige Limo was used as a patsy to lure in really poor idiots to justify an arrest that they were working for Al-Qaeda to blow up buildings or to shoot jets with surface-to-air missiles. I mean, the Newburgh 4, man. I mean, HBO, they made a documentary about how the FBI entrapped the Newburgh 4. Take a look at it. It was this guy that owned this limo that killed 20 people that entrapped the Newburgh 4 amongst a whole bunch of other people. And you know, the FBI utilized this guy to entrap people to justify terrorist arrests so they could justify the war on terror. I mean, come on, man. To justify the war on terror. Now, as I told you guys, I would look into the 20 passengers and what they were doing and who they were, because, I mean, this guy that owned Prestige Limo was definitely not just FBI, he was CIA. Anyway, folks, I don't mean to go off on these tirades, but there are black operative moves going on here, and I think people need to understand what's happening. But do you find it weird that Jamal Khashoggi is all over the American news? Why the fuck do we give a shit? Why the fuck do we care that some stupid fucking old Wahhabist kebab who basically wrote the narrative of Osama bin Laden, why the fuck should we care that this stupid idiot is fucking dead? I don't give a shit. He was a Wahhabist. Who cares? All right? I mean, he was a part of the old guard. He probably was a part of the old guard with Bush Sr. and all the fucking conspirators in Saudi Arabia when it comes to 9/11, for Christ's sake. Who cares? I mean, did we see this much outcry when Michael Hastings was fucking killed? I'm telling you guys, Michael Hastings was a liberal reporter. And he was up on to Obama's corruption a long time ago. And conveniently, and look, folks, anybody can do this. I know people back then were saying, no, that's impossible. But if you take a look at the footage of Michael Hastings' death, somebody took over control of his Mercedes late model at that time, his late model Mercedes, and literally forced it to go at high rates of speed, like 80 or 90 miles an hour. And if you take a look at the footage, you'll see that his car, right before it hit a goddamn tree, exploded before it hit the tree. And it incinerated him. It incinerated the car. Even Mercedes couldn't explain why it happened, because Mercedes made a statement and stated, hey, our car shouldn't have burnt to smithereens like that. But when Michael Hastings was killed, did we hear any outcry? No! Was he all over the media as opposed to this fucking CIA journalist kebab? No! How about Andrew Breitbart when he died? Huh? Did we hear this much outcry when Andrew Breitbart was killed? And he was killed, folks, all right? He was walking down the fucking street and just collapsed and turned purple, blue. And this was according to the only eyewitness that saw him die. And you know, no one knows where that eyewitness is. He's gone away. He's missing. No one's ever seen him again. The guy who conducted the autopsy on Andrew Breitbart, he died of a heart attack literally a few days later. How come we didn't hear any kind of outcry when it came to that? That's why I'm telling you, folks, pay no attention to this Jamal Khashoggi. Who gives a shit? All right? Who gives a shit? This guy interviewed bin Laden, for Christ's sake. He wrote bin Laden's narrative. This is obviously an internal war from the CIA. I'm talking about John Brennan. I'm talking about Clapper. I'm talking about Hayden. They're utilizing whatever factions within the CIA that are left. They're utilizing these factions in an attempt to throw egg on the face of the president. That's what this all comes down to. Anyway, folks, we got a little time left, and I'm sorry for going off keister on some of these subject matters, but it bears repeating. That's why I told you we had a lot to talk about today, man. A lot to talk about. And, man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to be so long-winded, but people got to know the truth out here, man. People got to know the truth. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about China, because have you heard the left-wing media about China? Have you heard the latest headlines by the left-wing media?
Oh, China posts a record trade surplus from the U.S. Oh, it looks like the tariffs are not working, and it seems as if China is getting bigger. Oh, my God.
Have you seen those fucking headlines by the left-wing media like Vox and all these other fucking left-wing organizations? They're trying to chastise the president, claiming that the tariffs aren't working because China, quote, posted a record trade surplus with the United States for September. But if you read the fucking details, which you will not read or see in any of the left-wing media, if you read that the surplus is a result of increased orders from U.S. buyers, all right, increased orders from U.S. companies who anticipated the tariff prior to POTUS implementing it, is the reason why China is posting a record surplus for the month of September. And you see, you're not going to hear that from the left-wing mainstream media. You're just going to hear that the tariffs aren't working. China posted a record trade surplus with the United States. Folks, these numbers, once again, are surplus numbers as a result of an increase of orders from U.S. companies who anticipated the goddamn tariffs. They purchased more because they anticipated the tariffs, and that's what these numbers reflect. Folks, right now, the house of cards that is the Chinese economy is tumbling down as we speak. The International Monetary Fund, take that for a grain of salt, it came out today and said that the trade war could cut China's growth by 2 percentage points over the next 2 years. I mean, China, their markets are going down. They're having a very bad economic time. They had to inject here recently, you can look this up. This happened, I think, this week. They had to inject $200 billion into their goddamn economy just so that they could keep their economy afloat. And I'm telling you, folks, the United States is not messing around with China anymore. And I like how the president, at every one of these rallies that he's been speaking at, he's been saying that China now wants to make a deal. China all of a sudden wants to make a deal, but the president goes, I don't think they're ready yet. I don't think they're ready to make a deal. And I'm telling you, he's got China by the balls right now. And if China doesn't come to its senses and start getting a little humble, then it's going to find itself in a very precarious economic situation, and it's already starting now. It's already starting right now. So once again, don't believe this idea that China, it's posting record trade surpluses with the U.S. for September as if it is a litmus test for the tariffs by the president. Once again, all right, this surplus is a result of an increase of orders by U.S. companies who anticipated the tariffs. That's what this number reflects. Wait till the next numbers come out, all right? That just goes to show you, man, you get the straight political dope right here. You're not going to get any goddamn fucking leftist propaganda. You get the truth! The truth! Anyway, folks, last but not least, let me go ahead and get to one more international news. Did y'all hear that a foiled bomb plot in France shows Iran involvement and Iran government fracture? Now, what do I mean by this? There was a bomb plot that was foiled in June during a meeting that was going to be attended by Donald Trump's lawyers, Rudolph Giuliani, several European and Arabic officials. Okay, and it was an event at the National Council of Resistance of Iran, the NCRI. Now, the French foiled this bomb plot in June. And it has now come to light that the characters involved in this bomb plot, the 3 suspects, included one Iranian diplomat named Azdallah Assadi. This was the Iranian diplomat amongst 2 other suspects in this bomb plot that were intercepted by Belgium. You know, Belgium is doing a lot of things for people nowadays. I wonder what that's all about. Remember, first of all, Belgium is the home of the European Union Parliament. And secondly, remember last show I talked about how Belgium caught a Chinese spy that was committing espionage on United States companies, and they caught him in Belgium, and the United States extradited that guy, and that Chinese spy was actually a part of the government of China? Belgium, very interesting. Very interesting what we have here. Anyway, once again, what this shows, folks, that Iran's involvement in this foiled June plot, what it's showing is that there's factions within the Iran government that were going to attempt to hit up European sites to cause a rift within the internal workings of the Iranian government. Because right now, President Macron, the president of France, President Macron, he's demanding answers from the Iranian government. Because lest we forget, France has been championing, and the Europeans have been championing Iran ever since the United States ripped up the Iranian nuke deal. They've been wanting to continue to do business with Iran, for Christ's sake. And now this foil plot shows that there was Iranian involvement in an attempt to have bombings within Europe. Europe is demanding answers, and what they're gathering from Iran is that it's rogue factions within their government that were attempting to bomb targets within Europe. I told you that the Iranian government was fracturing. I told you all. I mean, did y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, the Ayatollah was trying to distance himself from his parliament, from his government, and trying to put the blame on economic woes on the government, trying to put the blame on the current situation of their foreign policy on the government. So right now, as I read Iran, I'm telling you, Iran is on its last legs, man. I'm telling you that right now. They are ripe for regime change. They are ripe to be toppled. And I'm not saying that we need to go in there. I think that we need to continue to do the clandestine operations that we're doing. And the next time they think that they're so brazen that they're going to have another military parade, we hit that son of a bitch up. If they think that they're going to be able to sell oil in the world market, then we need to hit up those oil fields. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a target, folks. The Iranian oil fields are going to be a target if they think they're going to be able to sell oil on the world market using anything else but the U.S. petrodollar. And now, because of this foil plot, you've got their European counterparts. You got fucking France, Germany, the European Union asking Iran, hey, what the fuck, man? Hey, Iran, what the fuck, man? This is Europe over here. We were the ones backing you up. Why are you having elements of your government trying to bomb us? And Iran saying it's rogue elements of the government. Rogue elements of the government? How can you have rogue elements of the government, Iran? I thought that you had your goddamn government sewn down, baby. I thought y'all were big, bad Iranian revolution motherfuckers. What happened, baby? Huh? You ain't as strong as you thought you were, Iran. And I'm telling you, you're on your last legs, and anyone who understands international relations knows it. Anybody who understands international relations knows that Iran is on its last fucking legs, and I can't wait for it to be toppled. They should have been toppled in 2009, for Christ's sake. I was the only goddamn person in any media calling for somebody in the international community to aid the 2009 Iranian Revolution. I was the only fucking person out here. Nobody gave a crap. Well, it's about to come around again there, Iran. And I'm telling you right now, you Iranian revolutionary wannabes are about to have the existence of your piece of shit born in 1979 government wiped the hell off, baby. I can't wait. Anyway, folks, I am done for this Baller Friday edition of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. I want to thank everybody for listening to me on this Baller Friday. I really appreciate your patronage. Whether you're listening to me live or in the archive, I really do appreciate you listening to this broadcast. Now, before I leave, folks, I would like to remind everybody to please spread the show link around like wildfire and let everybody you know across the internets and throughout the world, let them all know that True Capitalist Radio is in effect and in the house. And once again, we are live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Texas, United States time, right here on the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And I love being independent now. Type this in your browser, add this to your bookmarks, add this to your favorites. The following, ghost.report. All right? Ghost.report is the official website of the True Capitalist Radio broadcast. And by the way, if you appreciate this broadcast in any capacity, because if you're listening to this broadcast, you are listening to the underground, baby. The political underground. They've been trying to ban us ever since 2016, folks. So if you want to continue to hear this broadcast and sustain the continuity of this broadcast, then go to the website right now, ghost.report, and click the tab that states Cryptocurrency Wishing Well. Click the tab that states Cryptocurrency Wishing Well and throw some cryptocurrency, make a wish, and all of your wishes will come true, while at the same time you are helping the show sustain continuity. Now, I do want to say I got another 50 quantum from somebody, and you know who you are. May all your dreams come true. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it, because let me tell you, this is what keeps me going forward. This is what keeps me going without, like, being lazy and being like, you know what, I don't want to do the show today. Let me go out drinking. You know what I mean? Provides a little incentive, all right? I really do thank you guys and everybody else who's been throwing something into the cryptocurrency wishing well. I really do appreciate it. You are definitely sustaining the continuity of this broadcast, all right? And moreover, folks, I've been saying we're going to throw some new merch on there. I'm going to work on it this weekend. I got to do a lot of things, man. I'm literally been beaten up by how many obligations that I've got to do for my business, for this, for that. So I am going to put up some new merch on ghost.market. That's what you got to type in your browser. That's the official shop of merch for True Capitalist Radio. Ghost.market is all you got to type in and add to your bookmarks, add to your favorites. We're going to try to put up some more shirts up there, some more garb, you know, some more interesting things. So if you're interested in that, we got all kinds of merch on there. Ghost.market. Ghost.market. Type it in your browser. That's where all the merch is, and I really do appreciate it if you do not only just get one, but sport one out here, man. You know, wear the threads. You know, I appreciate it. Anyway, folks, I am going to be in the True Capitalist Radio chat room in the next 25 minutes. So if you want to come on down and chill with us tonight in the True Capitalist Radio chat room, all you've got to do is go to my Gab account right now, Politics Ghost, all one word, no underscores, Politics Ghost, and click the subscribe button for premium content, all right? Click the subscribe button for premium content, and once you do, private message me on Gab. And let me know your Discord chat name, and I'll be sure to private message you back on Gab and give you a private invitation to the True Capitalist Radio chat room. It's that damn simple, all right? Anyway, folks, I am out of here on this Bowler Friday. I hope you appreciated and enjoyed this broadcast. I really appreciate and enjoy you listening. Until Monday, I hope that you're here Monday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is episode number 628. Today's date is October 12th, 2018. I hope to see you all on Monday. And for the guys in the True Capitalist Radio chat room, I know we've been missing movie night here for the past couple of weekends. This Saturday, we're going to try to see if we can get a pretty good movie night, a pretty consistent movie night, if you happen to be a part of the True Capitalist Radio chat room. So be aware of that. We're going to do that again. That's been pretty fun. Unfortunately, there's been, some fights on last week. And, I like MMA. I like that kind of stuff. So, unfortunately, that's been the reason why we haven't had one. But we will have one this Saturday. So, anyway, I'm out of here. I will talk to you guys soon enough. And, by the way, be here Monday, 6:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, all right? I'm out of here. Long live the capitalist army, and death to feminism, death to socialism, and death to communism. You're goddamn right. There ain't no good communist but a dead communist, boy. Woo!